Party time. Party time. Party time. Party time. Drink your drinks and eat your eats. It's party time. Laugh your laughs and eat your eats. It's party time. Smile your smiles and blue your blues. It's party time. Dance a dance and shoe your shoes. It's party time. Howl your howls and suck your socks. It's party time. Yeah. Oh baby, grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Everybody, grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. One more. Grab your craps and fuck your fucks. It's party time. Here we go. Party time. Yeah. Party time. Party time. Yeah. Party time. 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 Hey. Party time. Yeah. Party time.
Good Lord, and ladies and gentlemen, and Buddha deserves a mention, I think. That would only be fair. I think 10 minutes late is a record. Hey, shush. Shush. Right, you probably couldn't hear that. Right, now, I've got the Buy Me a Coffee live on the screen. Not live. Well, I suppose it is. We're going to talk about AI. What a surprise. But I've got to show you that. Let me just dig that out. This is unprepared. I wasn't going to do it. I'm so tired, people. I'm going to do a little experiment in a minute. If I shut both my eyes, like this one's just closing of its own accord now. I mean, this is just getting old. Anyone old here knows about this sort of stuff. It's all quite new to me. But like when I wake up in the morning, when my missus starts shaking me at about midday, this eye, nah, they're not friends anymore, my eyes. They used to hang around together. Did you hear the Vart? Did you hear the Vart? Let me know. Oh, what a terrible shame. It went wah. It was classic. And not only was it classic, it's come from a classic scrub as well. And he said this, AI was saying nice things about you earlier. I'll tell you what, Mousecat, well, first of all, thank you for that. The grift is giving me griftation syndrome. It's in the DSM-6, probably will be. I wouldn't put it past them. You know what I think about psychiatry? It will be an illness, and if you exhibit signs of requesting donations during streaming services 2 times a month, you've got griftation syndrome. I mean, that doesn't sound in the slightest bit ridiculous to me, and that's what's ridiculous about it. But Mousecat, thank you very much, Ayrton Senna. AI was saying some nice things about me earlier. Well, I'm more touched that you were asking AI about me, or someone was, or something weird happened. It's just, it's nice to know that you're being spoken about. Oscar Wilde's famous quote: "There's only one thing worse than people talking about you, and that's people not talking about you." So it's a massive hoit to Mousecat. See, it's doing it. Look. Can you see it? Look. I think I told you the other night, I was writing, and this is why. 44,000 words now in a matter of weeks. This new accidentally commercial. Honestly, I'm not holding back here. That my other novel, my masterpiece, that is my masterpiece, and I love it. But that was always going to be self-published. No publisher's going near that unless I do well with another novel. That's what happened to David Foster Wallace. He released, in fairness, he was working as a lecturer at a creative writing course, and he done well with some short stories. The Girl with Curious Hair, Consider the Lobster, a couple of others, well worth reading. If you want to read some actual postmodern fiction, and by that I mean fiction that is aware of the contextual arena within which it's writing, because that's what modernism, that's the heart of modernism. The heart of modernism is the awareness that you're an artist, the awareness that you're like, look at Warhol's Monroe pictures. Marilyn Monroe, like a massive celebrity. I've been researching a lot of Monroe actually, because she features in this. It sounds weird when I describe it as an accidentally commercially viable novel, and then I've been researching Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, that's odd, but what an incredibly interesting character. What a woman whose job it was to pretend to be everything she wasn't. Look at who she was married to. You can't keep a relationship going just by being that hot. You just can't. And, well, actually, look at Andy Warhol. The place he made his work was called The Factory. Now, that doesn't sound much to us in 2025. It was an artist, and it was, but before modernism, modernism, you can sort of say, access to bib yourself, access to reproduction, photography, early 20th century. That's what's, when people say AI is going to destroy film or it's going to destroy art, well, photography actually saved art, so I'm not quite so sure about that. But he called it The Factory. He had other people making the work. Before that, we kind of, as a sort of a, there's a lot in culture about consensus. Look at the idea of Rembrandt, for instance. Oh, Rembrandt self-portraits, they're masterpieces, aren't they? According to what criteria? I mean, there's thousands, there's hundreds of thousands, there's millions. And I mean this. There's millions of people who can paint portraits as good as, if not. Am I back? You'll have to tell me if I'm back, because I got a notification saying I'm not here. I'm guessing I'm back because, I think I'm back. Apologies, can't do anything about that. It might happen again. Just roll with the blows in life. Take those opportunities to have to reconsider that it might be time to cut your toenails. This sort of idea of consensus that Rembrandt painted masterpieces, Cézanne, an impressionist, he painted, they're masterpieces. Van Gogh's Starry Night, it's a masterpiece. Well, according to who and according to what criteria? Well, we can put those two questions aside and just agree, weirdly, ironically, that it's about consensus, that somehow enough people repeated it. I mean, our painting that was painted 300 years ago can still be considered a masterpiece. I don't know. What suddenly then does masterpiece mean? I'd love to get 20 people to write a 300-word definition of masterpiece, and then not tell someone else what they're writing about. They're not allowed to use the word masterpiece, and get other people to read them. It would be so interesting. They'd be talking about many different things, because it's not. Again, we take a second step to consensus of masterpiece. So consensus of definition, consensus of the meaning of the word, consensus of the object, consensus of the historical context. A weird world. So when Warhol has the factory and he stands there like a ponce, and I love that about Warhol. I like that about Michael Houellebecq, the French writer. He's a ponce. He looks like a fool, and that's what I want from the artists. I want the artists to be eccentric. That's what they're for. They're storytellers, and stories come well from people who are strange. Because stories are strange. Not all of them. How are you? Hello isn't the best story. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm a bit knackered. It's not the best story. But you get someone who's very peculiar say the exact same story, it will be better. Amazing, huh? Absolutely amazing. You could even get 80s page 3 stunner Linda Lusardi to say, hello, how are you? And it would be better than having Stan Ogden, character name from Coronation Street, saying it. Although in another way it would be worse. I've gone off slightly on a tangent here, but what I'm going to do to bring all that back together in one lovely little sort of digital explosion is go like this. Rub the air. It would help me if you could do it, people. Just massage the air gently. Just massage, that's it. I know a couple of you are doing it. I'd love it if you were. I'd love it if you'd let me know. If in the chat you're rubbing the air, just let me know. Just yes or one, or I'm rubbing. I'm rubbing might win. Because watch what happens when enough of us do it. Yeah, boy. Picard.
Hello.
I'll tell you what, Picard, I do love it on Dave's Waffle House, the best YouTube channel in the world. Well, certainly on YouTube. He calls you Picard.
He can't not.
No, well, it's not fair. It would be bad manners at this stage. I've got to get him on. Dave, I know you're watching. I know how it works. I want to get you on, but you once said, I was watching last night. Don't you think I wasn't watching last night when someone dished out 10 ducks? I was watching, but I was writing. And when it's someone else's show and you've stolen half my audience, I don't like to say hello because I don't want to drag their attention from your stoned ramblings. But once you said that you'd love to come on, but I don't think worried was the word you used, but it was what you meant. That I would psychoanalyze you, and that is exactly what I want to do. I would absolutely love to have you on. Note the difference, though, young David. Not psychotherapy, psychoanalyze. And all that is get to know you, but not in a polite, oh, what music do you like? I'll go deeper than you knew existed. The silt at the bottom of your local lakes that you city boys like me, we wear trainers when we go in the water. You don't go in the water in bare feet. That's just ridiculous. But I know I accidentally done it once, and I didn't actually self-argue. But as I walked, one shoe got in the silt. I've taken the step, shoes stayed behind. Everyone's had it in the mud, haven't they? It's the classic mud retriever. You're walking, shoe stays in the mud, your barefoot or your sock goes. Anyway, Point be, look, I told you I was tired. Tired goes two ways. It goes nuts on fumes or just absolute gibber, and you're getting absolute gibber. I can summarize this in just one line. Young David, I want to know the bit below the silt. So whenever you're ready, you know my email, chris@chrisdangerfield.com. Hit me up. Let's arrange it. You can come on. And I'll tell you what, you can come on and at any point you don't want to answer a question, you just say, no, that's out of bounds. There you go. Not a problem. It would be lovely. It would be a lovely and very interesting chat, I reckon. So that's there. And if you don't want to do it, that also's fine. You bastard. Okay? So there's that. Show Picard some love in the chat, people. There he is. Half pissed as usual, no doubt.
They're saying hello. They're being nice. Grego's here, by the way. So Grego in the chat.
Grego's on the phone. Well, we've only got 50 in. I'll get some hellos in quickly before the riff-raff turn up. JP, I only really stream for JP. Hello, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hello, Picard. Picard's in. Lovely. Daniel, Mr. Ross Jury. How are you, son? John Fused. He's over the absolute letter moon. Letter moon. Charlie's on the phone. Hello, Charlie. How are you? Urbex looking for that salt, no doubt. Livy. Nice one, Livy. Humans is on, which is absolutely lovely. Oh, for some reason, Humans has reminded me. I'll tell you what, people. I put out 2 videos earlier in the week, both of them about the way people are talking these days. Fair play to the Scrubs responses. Loads of comments. I mean, that's gold dust. That's better than a like for a YouTube video. When people are engaging, YouTube are like, hang on a minute, hang on, and yeah, and it's nice for me because it means I'm talking about something that you're interested in. If people are leaving comments, it's people saying I'm interested in this and I've got a bit of input. Great. If people have got nothing to say, it's like, well, they didn't like that then, did they? So, you know what I mean? Latas is in. Latas says that's awful. There's a lot of awful things in the world, Latas. We don't all get to Hideaway without working in France and a beret and a 2-litre jug of, I don't know what the French drink, red wine. Hello, Craig. The French was amazing. Hello, Craig. I hope you're all right, Latas, of course. Doc Shelley. We might have to go into that a bit further, Mousecat, later. I'll tell you what, Mousecat, because of this accidentally commercially viable novel I've written by accident, I've been using AI to, what's the word I'm looking for? Continuity. Like I don't want characters to say things that they wouldn't say because they haven't already done this scene. That or things like anyway. The point is, ChatGPT has read my entire novel, which is great for indulging. At night, I write things like write a review for my novel, and I can say write a positive review, and it'll do it. I can say write a negative review. It's obviously a little bit woke, isn't it? It won't do I could write a better positive, better negative review. Of my own book, but check this out. As for a writer, I can literally, and I mean literally, well, no, figuratively, because I say to it, I go, oi, and I call my Chat GPT mush, and it calls me mush as well. When I start in the day, I go, right, you ready to get on with this, mush? And he goes, I am, mush, let's go. It's quite funny, and he says nice one to me. But I said to it, if you had to criticize it, what are the weakest points? And it listed about eight points. And in fairness, 3 of them I'm already on. I've got notes because I use Scrivener, which is the best software for writing novels. After years of Word, it's just like heaven. I've got all these little sort of note boxes and different folders and things. Now, when you've already identified 3 yourself, you can kind of trust it. And the other few that it mentioned, I thought, you know what, you're onto something there. And they're not mind-bending kind of wow, that's incredible. But they are I'm sort of like, actually, because it's not saying this is shit. It's saying this could be improved by doing this. And I'm like, you're damn right. So that's all very interesting. Plastic African, lovely to see you. I see you recently on, I think it was Rags and Jack. Or no, JP maybe. No, Picard. I think it was Picard, Rags and Plastic African. Yeah, it wasn't a dream. That happened, didn't it? Did that happen, Picard?
It would have been 42.
I heard you mention, it was 42, you're right. I heard you mention me, and then you made a weird little face as if to say, I'm not saying anything more in public about that. You cheeky monkey. Anyway, I think if I haven't said hello, I certainly will say hello to you at some point throughout the stream. Hello, Ludwig. Hello, Rufus. Doc Shelley. I'm sure I've said hello to Doc Shelley. Hello, Ludwig. Mr. Swain. AA called me a twant. Nothing wrong with that. No way. Duper guy's out in Budapest. It's got to be dentistry or hair replacement. What are you out there for? Come on, be honest. What cosmetic surgery are you in Budapest for? Pax is in. Hello, Pax. Mousecat said that AI has already told him he's 100% ADHD sufferer. Yeah, absolute nonsense. Well, no, ADHD is right because, everyone is. Everyone is attention deficit. That's how we survive, by seeking attention. And hyperactivity, where does that start? Where does it become hyper? Let's imagine they've got a scale of 0 to 100. And 51 is hyper. You've got hyperactivity now. You've got hyperactivity disorder. What if you've got 50? So one kid's got 51. They're going to put him on the Ritalin and loads of social services and all these other behavioural shit and all psychiatry. But the geezer who's got 1 point less than him, no, he's fine. He's absolutely fine. Amazing. They took Asperger's out of the DSM. So all those kids who are over the moon and run around school going, I'm different, I'm special, I've got Asperger's. They haven't anymore. They got better overnight because someone decided it didn't exist anymore. It's such a scam. It would be beautiful if it wasn't wrecking the entire Western civilization. Osmeister, he's here. Osmeister, he's here. I have got a bit of the Katy Perry eye, Picard. I certainly have. Plastic African says that magnesium does the eye twitch. What helps it? I do take some very good vitamins on a regular basis. But I think I'm just, when you're working all day at the computer, when you've got astigmatitis or whatever it is I've got in my left eye, and you're writing all night and you're not sleeping properly, something's going to go wrong, isn't it? I just don't want to go blind. I mean, I can type without looking. I mean, there's a few mistakes, but again, I just pop it through the AI. So it wouldn't be that bad, but good Lord, imagine losing your eyesight. That's got to be Do you remember I had that bird on here years ago? She was about 23 and she had a progressive eye disease, and she was definitely a permanent wink. That's why I've had such luck pulling birds over the years. I thought it was my charm, but it was just a semiotic of seduction I didn't know I was doing. Yeah, and she just had to live with that. You know, what do you feel about that? I remember asking her, and she was like, well, you know, you just try and get on with things, didn't you? Fucking hell. I mean, I'm not convinced that humans should know about things like that. I don't think we're designed to. It's like all this. If it's caught early, we might be able to keep you alive a couple more years. I don't think. Now, I'm not judging anyone, of course. That it's entirely up to you. But I don't think we're equipped to leave a strange person's little room. I mean, a doctor with our missus or someone we love and cherish, walk out into the street and have a snap or a vape or a burger or whatever it is humans do. But sorry, there's motorbikes going up and down the road. But 5 minutes before, someone hadn't said to you, you've got stage 5 cancer, I'll give you about 2 months. I'm not sure we're equipped to deal with that. I just don't think we are. I'm not even sure we're equipped to be told we can treat you, we can put you on the old chemotherapy for a couple of years and there's a 60% chance. But then I'm not old enough to know. Maybe if I was 68 and the doctor said, look, if you let us give you some chemo, you might get another 5 or 10 years. And then if I have got children and I have still got my missus, I might fucking cherish those 5 years. Do you know what I mean? I'll be like, yeah, I'll do whatever it takes to buy a bit of time. So, you know, what I've always said on this stream, I've never said this before actually, but what I've always wanted to say is it's all bullshit what I say. So, you know, roll with the blows. Blow with the roll-ups. I'll tell you what, from age about 9 to about 19, I had a permanent wank. Someone had to, didn't they? John wants me to look into biohacking. I'll do something. Maybe. I didn't know how to say no then. Lartus's next book's coming out soon. What do you mean by coming out though, Lartus? Come on, be honest with us. But if that's the extent of your marketing, I'm about to give you an answer to that. No one's buying it though. You've got to do more. I was talking to someone about it the other day. I've got a friend who's got a publishing deal. It's very small publishers, but they're having a launch and all this shit. And I said, listen, marketing is part of the writer's job these days. Unless you're going with a massive publisher that are going to put a load of money in, no one's spending any money marketing your book. Varts, that's amazing. I've had more Varts in the first, what's that been, half hour of this stream than the last 10 put together. Let's see you drop that. Massive boost in. Good. Did I just see Ellie Walmsley? I know I haven't said hello to a load of people. A load of people have turned up while I've been gibbering, yeah. So I apologise. There you go, Osmeister. Have you suffering from blepharoptitis? Blepharoptitis. I have too. Is that a thing, or am I missing a joke there?
Blepharitis.
That's it.
Or blepharitis.
Blepharitis, maybe. Inflammation of the eyelid edges causing symptoms like swollen, itchy, and sometimes crusted eyelids. No, I fucking ain't. I can assure you no. The answer's no. No, I have not got swollen, itchy, or sometimes crusted eyelids. Good Lord. I'm just tired. So I'm just tired. But I do hope you're getting on all right with your blepharitis, or whatever we're going to call it. I remember, thank you for the donation, Osmeister. Machano Propasha Pratati. I do remember waking up as a kid. What's that thing? Conjunctivitis? Where you wake up and it's like someone super glued your eyes shut. Is that conjunctivitis?
Don't know,
I'll
never
tell
had
you
that.
what, Backer, it's the weirdest thing. I remember we'd come back from Swanage, which is where we used to go on holiday. And I've been asleep in the back of the van on the drive back. And when we got back to Dartford, I tried to open my eyes and they just wouldn't open. So obviously, first thing I've done is like touched them. And it was full-blown blepharis. Like it was just, it was like crusty. You know, you get those little bits of what my mum used to call them sleep. Oh, you got
Yeah.
sleep in your eye. Yeah, but imagine like someone had applied it with, you know, some kind of industrial blepharis blower.
A
And so
silicon gum.
you had to sort of separate your eyelids manually. I'll be honest with you, I quite liked it. When the doctor gave me some cream, he said, put this on every day for about a week and it will go away. And I used to try and sort of dodge 3 times a day it was. And I used to try and dodge them because there was sort of just something quite nice about it. Like some people like picking scabs, don't they? I don't like picking scabs. I like to let my body heal. And that's quite a good thing when your body's scabbed over. But I've seen people sitting there just, you know, making a right meal out of it, taking ages, little bit here, I've gone a bit too far there. And my childhood blepharis was a bit like that. You could say it was. I hope everyone on Buy Me a Coffee has been enjoying their videos. There's something wrong with the software. I have to take those about 5 times. When I first start, I go, yeah, hello, mate, and fucking great. Thanks for the donation. Really cheered me up. Very encouraging. I'm glad you're enjoying everything. This failed to upload. All right, no problem. Do it again. Hello, mate. Nice one on the donation. It was a good stream tonight, actually. I enjoyed it. I'll see you soon. This failed to upload. By the 5th one, cheers, mate. Ta-da. So, yeah. I'm sure you're right. Let's just get the grift out of the way. Buy Me a Coffee and Entropy are at the top of the YouTube chat. Buy Me a Coffee is the best one. 2 reasons. One, I lose the least money. I mean, I don't give money to the platform like as much as you do on all the others. And Entropy. So that's up the top there. Super Chat's down the bottom. That's also got its bonus because you get a nice big, well, like Osmeister's, I will demonstrate it like that. You get that there. There you go. And I think that's it. But yeah, donate some money if you want, if you can afford it. And if you can't, don't. We'll have a laugh anyway. I mean, it is 12:30 here. I'll probably do about an hour and a half. From now, I mean, though. Might even have a little call in later. I just want to show you this little bit of AI. I know it's all a bit AI, but it's what a time to be alive. You know, the speed that AI is growing, the power that it's growing. Like that Mr. Reagan video where he said that AI will just be, it will be cleverer than the communal brain of the planet. And that's going to change politics radically. In our favor, in the favor of the right, because what we say makes sense. You know, Warren Buffett, you can't have open borders and welfare. That, you know, 2 minus 3 is -1. We know that. AI knows that. It's going to be so funny. I'll tell you what, if you're scared of it, don't be. Because the only danger is what humans will do with it. And we've got this far with nuclear bombs, all right? So do you know what I mean? Don't let it keep you up at night. Enjoy it. But I'd certainly say if you've got kids, get them all over it. Get them all over Mid-Journey, Grok, ChatGPT. Let them know how important, they probably already do, but let them know how important that stuff is. I was trying to explain it to my missus, and I'm gonna use this little clip here to what am I doing here? I'm gonna use this little clip to explain to you what clinched it when I was explaining it to her. And it is the clincher. Clincher. Oh, there's so many things I want to tell you about this new novel, but I don't want to tell you anything about it. I'm going to need a few beta readers as well. I've already asked Packer 2 or 3 more that I can just give the first draft to with a list of questions. And obviously, I'd expect you to put a bit of your own input in as well. You know, beta readers aren't about people coming back going, oh, I loved it, mate. What a great, oh, I loved it. No, it's where you come back and go, don't know, man, dragged a bit about halfway through, because most novels do. You know, things that could be improved. That's what you want your beta readers for. Anyway, what am I trying to do? Trying to stay awake. I'm not even joking. Hang on. Here we go. Oh my God! Dan the Iconoclast. Hang on a minute. Hello, son. I'm streaming at the moment live, so I don't know if my mic will be working, but you must be absolutely over the moon. Wow. Check that out, people. I mean, no one... there might be 1 or 2 people in the chat who actually give a shit, but Sunderland beat Sheffield United 2-1. And it was in the Championship playoffs, so they're being promoted. Sunderland are being promoted. Spurs fans, by the way, are trying to laugh at Arsenal fans because they won a trophy this season. They won the what's it called? The George Roper, the Europa League, right? And Arsenal didn't, but that's because Arsenal got to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Arsenal weren't shit enough to take part in the Europa League. The Europa League the final was played between 2 teams who are in the bottom half of the table. It's like, you know. No, but well done, Spurs fans. I mean, you know it's embarrassing, but enjoy it. You know. Hello, Special K on Acid. Right, where's this thing I was looking for before the Iconoclast? He's probably pissed out of his head. Actually, he might offer to come on if he's not down the. I bet Sunderland's rocking tonight. Up the Mackhams. Right, let me just. The reason I'm looking at his WhatsApp with me is because I sent it to him. I sent the link to him. Right, we did have a look at this the other day, but there's a few more I want to show you. Right, so we'll drop this over here. Oh, don't worry, people. I know how to use the old internet. I've got the skills to pay the bills. That ain't it. What's going on here? Why didn't that work? Bear with me, people. It was this or nothing, and admittedly, nothing might have been better. Don't say they've taken it down. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. Right, here we go. Right, so here we are. So you remember me and the Iconoclast were talking about making films which would just be voice to screen, where you just say, right, I want a nice sunny day, June in England in 1932. Bosh, it comes up. You say, oh, a little bit sunnier, a little bit more wind in the barley, and it's adjusting to it as you're talking. And I was talking to another mate, and he said, yeah, but, you know, what about live streams? And I said, oh, it will be able to do that. You know, there'll be someone who looks exactly like me. I mean, that won't be the best thing that AI can do, but someone in the chat will say something and the AI will respond to it live, just like I am now. And you won't be able to tell the difference. And if you can't tell the difference, does it matter? That's the question. If you haven't read Umberto Eco's book, Travels in Hyperreality, it's an easy read. It's an entertaining read. It was relevant in the early 80s, I think, when it was published. I might have that wrong, but it's so relevant today. Travels in hyperreality. He tours America. I won't go into it, but have a read of that because it'll equip you with some very interesting angles to discuss AI, which everyone will be. If you think AI is big now, at the moment, we're about 0.001% into this AI thing. This is an industrial revolution. It really is. And it won't peak for another 20, 30 years. This is early doors. I've got people who I totally trust saying put every penny you've got on Palantir because that's going to be $1,000, $2,000 stock. And it's about $120 at the moment. Simply because the way AI is going to change everything. Anyway, check this out. So,
hang on. Gregor's just said. Well, put what Gregor's just said on the screen.
of course, Grego's always on fire, isn't he? Where is he? Hang on.
Hang on, everybody. Mind your head, babe.
Gold's fucking pricey at the moment, though, Otto. Hello, Toffee. How are you, son? Hello, all good outside. Hope you're well, mate. Jack's London's History of Hardcore. Hello, sir. Grego says Packers curtains look like that latest tranny flag. He's good stuff. He's good stuff. Someone's donated. No, they haven't. JP's been a member for 44 months. That is a donation. Hello, little one. You all right? Oi, come closer to the microphone.
Aye.
Are you interested in artificial intelligence? Do you get into all that, like ChatGPT and Midjourney?
No.
Let me give you one bit of advice. Get into it. Because that's going to be the difference between you being very rich and successful and having a lovely bird on your arm.
Okay.
And going to food banks. Packer, you've got to get him into it, mate. And what you've got to do is find a way to get him into it. Tell him half that porn he watches is AI. That would probably be a good way in. Sorry, that was irresponsible of me. But there you go. Blogs is in. We're making a request. Looks like he doesn't care. Jack London has been a member for 51 months. That's absolutely superior. Nice one.
Mrs.
Jack
Packer and the boy are now having a "Are you watching porn?" discussion at the living room door. Cheers, mate.
Mrs. Packer, what do you think, honestly? What do you think?
She thinks not.
The naivety is almost beautiful. Almost beautiful. But I can assure you, there's friction burns akimbo. But we'll leave that alone. Grego, that was a fair gag, actually. Good call. Hello, Ellie. Mad Liz is on the firm. I hope you're doing well, Liz. Are you keeping an eye on things, love? Look at blogs calling Packer Pags. and in the possessive as well. But Pag's son's long hair. So still, it is correct. Just the wrong bloke. But you're all right. How are you, Bill? Bill had a go at me. They said that about Betamax videos. It's not quite the same thing, is it? That competition's more like ChatGPT and Grok, isn't it? Road Trader says, for fuck's sake, don't let Dangerfield give advice to your kids. I think I'll tell you what, I've given advice to my mates' kids, and they really like me. I am liked by my friends' children, I'll have you know. Well, I think I am. They've given me no reason to think that. I just walk off with a spring in my step thinking, another mind taught. Another lesson given for nothing. Well, there you go, Mousecap. Great point. I don't think the young have a choice but to be into it. Well, I mean, really, you've just got to. When we were kids, and like I was about 16, and I bought a guitar, and there was a bloke down my road who was a musician. He was a bass player, like a session musician. And we were amazed when we found out, because we were just kids. Like, we couldn't play our instruments. We weren't middle class kids. And we didn't have lessons and actually know about music. And I said to him, "Have you got any tips?" And he went, "Yeah." He went, "Learn to play the keyboard." And he was in many ways he was right, because most music today, you know, you can put an album together on a keyboard. You can play every instrument on a keyboard. There you go. Monster Trap. So you new around here. I've bought and sold Palantir a couple of times now. Yeah, likewise. But I sold just before they collapsed. But this lot, I'm hanging in for the long haul. Well, long haul. I'm a bit too old for too long, but maybe 5-10 years. I mean, we won't get into. I'll do a stream about investing maybe next week. Hello, LC350. How are you, sir? Good stuff, Lizzie. Good to hear. Anyway, so good. So this was what everyone was saying. Everyone was saying that good. Let me get a bit of light on the subject. Everyone was saying that good. There you go. Hello, people. Now you'll be able to see my shut eye. Everyone was saying that Google. Hang on a minute. Brad James has joined the firm. Hello, Bradley. Nice one, Cyril. That's absolutely beautiful. Oh, little burp there. Thank you, Brad. Prashakuka. Don't forget, Brad's got a Substack, people. Puts out loads of content as well. Everyone was saying that Google were falling behind because everyone else is getting their own AI working, and you know that some are better than others have got better features than others. I'll tell you what, right? We use Google Meet for our business meetings, and you can tell it Gemini. It's called, right? And before the meeting, you say to Gemini, "Take minutes for this meeting, will you?" And then me, my business partner, sometimes a couple of the staff, depending on what the meeting's about, we'll talk for an hour and a half. And at the end of it, Gemini has listened to us talking, and it will give us whatever you want it in, PDF, Word, whatever, of the whole meeting, but not every word, because that would be shit. Minutes, which is what a secretary used to do. It starts off, it says something like, "Chris introduced a meeting saying the main agenda is how we're going to improve our brand identity over the next 2 years." And then it will sort of say, "John suggested blah, 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 blah. Although, blah," and it's just, whoa. And that is incredible, because you also have a record of that. And then what you can do, because that's not that is amazing, but it's not mind-blowing. But in 6 months' time, you can then say to Gemini, "You know those 6 months minutes you've been taking? Can you collate them and give us some idea of how we've progressed with what we've been talking about?" And it will say, "Oh, this was mentioned in February, but hasn't been mentioned since. It seems you've completely forgotten about so and so," you know, and it shows you that the inefficiency of your meetings, because if you haven't mentioned something since you said, "Yeah, we'll definitely do that," and it hasn't happened, it knows all that. And that isn't replacing someone else's work. That's offering a new level of efficiency to running any kind of project. Incredible. Anyway, so the big thing was Google were falling behind. Now, it's a weird thing to think that one of the biggest companies in the world that have got their hands on the prostate of pretty much the populace, because, sign in with Google. Do you want Google to do this? Oh, you can do that. You can link that to your Google account. Want a YouTube account? Yeah, just sign up with Google. So if you want to stop using Google, you have to stop using half the internet. And then they come out with this VO3, and they just drop it out the other day. Now let's have a look. I know I showed a couple the other night, but let's have a look. Thank you again, Brad. It is appreciated. Let me show you. I did show one of these the other night. Hello, Spanish Chicken. Good to see thee. I did show one of these the other night, but what you got to remember is this is 100% AI. Okay. I don't expect you to be blown away by it, but what I tell you afterwards is the really important bit about this whole artificial intelligence lark. So we'll have a look at a couple of these clips off this fella's channel. They're only short little videos. So it's called VEO2 or VEO3, sorry. I'll get rid of me and Packer so that you can get the full experience. I can't even see the fucking screen now. It's ridiculous. Packer, can you see the screen? Is it black?
Yeah, it's black.
That's all right. No, that isn't right. Because I didn't select audio. I hate these bastards. I hate what they've done to this. It's been a proper bait and switch. I've got to learn OBS. I've just got to. Right, here we go, people. So check this one out. It's only a couple of minutes. There is no humanity in what you're going to see and hear. Voice and image. Humans have made it using AI, but just wait till what I want to tell you afterwards.
When I went to Vietnam, in Quang Nam, I saw this hydraulic instrument.
The Sedang people make it from bamboo, and it can be 40 meters long, and the water flowing through creates the sound.
So I asked myself, how could I create something similar with contemporary tools? And now you can watch the results.
Right, so that one goes on for another minute. I just want to show you a couple more of these. We saw that one the other night. That one's not worth watching. This one's pretty good. Hang on. Can you see that, Packer? Yeah, here we go. Right, hang on. Couple more. Hang on. We saw the car one, didn't we? But it's worth having another look.
I've just bought an electric car.
This is like a fake electric car convention. Again, there's no people involved as such.
Welcome to a non-existent car show. Let's see some opinions.
I mean, man, the acceleration is crazy. You look far, step on the pedal, and you are there.
I feel safe with him in an SUV, and it seems to be like the right type of car for him.
I think the range is only going to get better. Sorry.
We don't want to drive gas cars anymore.
Yeah, no more gas cars.
Yeah. You can see I'm kind of a misfit here, but don't tell anyone. I've just bought an electric car.
I think it's really great for families and for little babies with all the safety features.
That old mixture that you barely ever see. Right, so here's the important bit. Here's what makes it important, and this is what I got to when I was talking to my missus. computers have been able to generate images and sound like that for decades. That's not a new thing. But what is remarkable about that and Midjourney and ChatGPT and Grok and the rest of them is it's a prompt-based system. Do you know you can buy prompt? What? There are people, thank you for that, Vart, whoever give it, I'll get there in a minute. There are people now making hundreds of thousands, 30 grand a month, selling prompts. And that's what it's all about, because with take Midjourney, you can say to Midjourney, I want to have 2 athletes on a trampoline that's covered in talcum powder, and when they land, the talcum powder impact is looking at me. Yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this either, mate. But I'm trying to wiggle my way out of it. And when they land, all the powder explodes and turns into a beautiful cumulonimbus cloud, right? But it's what you don't tell it. If you don't tell it, what age are those 2 blokes jumping up and down on that trampoline? What race are they? How high are they jumping? Where is that trampoline? Is it in a sports hall? Is it out in a garden somewhere? Is it on a dump somewhere, a landfill site? So you've got to be sure, because if you don't tell, when you're prompting AI, if you don't tell it, it will fill in the gaps, right? But this is what's amazing about it. Those videos there that you just saw, they were prompt created. You didn't have to sit down and code that. You don't have to know about coding. You need to know about telling stories. You need to know to say, I want you to make a 2-minute video that's a fake electric car show, showing a variety of people from different classes and statuses, discussing different views on the pros and cons of electric vehicles in quite a light-hearted manner. Make it quite a busy show with vehicles in the background, photorealistic, depth of field, depth of focus, done. And in 2 minutes, it's done. And when me and Dan were talking about this a couple of years ago, I predicted this, and I predicted voice to film. And that's already there, people. The technology that they give us is like, they're bored with that. They're bored with all this because they're already doing the next stuff. I guarantee, I'm never 100%, but I'm 99%. They've already got voice to film. Think about making a feature film at the moment. 120-minute long film. You need a crew of about 50 people. You need a cast of an average movie about 100 people. You need hundreds of millions of dollars, and 4 months, 5 months at least. Look at something like Apocalypse Now. It took years. They had to go out to the Philippines. They had to borrow helicopters from the Philippine army who were at war, who used to come to Francis Ford Coppola's set and say, I need my helicopters back. We've got to do some bombing. And Francis Ford Coppola would have to say, all right, shut down. They need the helicopters. Bring them back. When they're back, we'll shoot a scene. But Coppola could have made Apocalypse Now if he'd have waited 40 years, sitting at a desk like I am now, like you are now, and just going, right, opening scene. We got a load of C4. It weren't C4, was it? What was it? I like the smell of, what is it? Smells like victory. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Yeah. I want a Vietnamese sort of jungle side going up with napalm. I want a fan going round. I want a sound effect that's like a helicopter, but also like a fan somewhere in between. And then you modify it as you're going, bring a bit more fan, less helicopter. Yeah. And then I want this character. Looks a bit like Charlie Sheen. Yeah, no, a bit younger. Yeah, that'll do. have him laying on a bed, and you're just making a film like that. And you modify as you go. You go, nah, too bright, light, dark, darken, darken, darken. And then I started thinking, I used to write treatments and movies for like Miramax and the likes of that lot. And I've still got the hard copies, and I've still got somewhere some 3-inch hard drives with them on it. But you'll be able to get I suppose people still use Final Draft and software like that to write movies. You'll now, a couple of years, you'll now be able to save that as, for instance, a VEO3 file. So you've written a whole screenplay. So if you don't know, this is a screenplay format, right? It's very, very, very simple. The screenplays are so boring to write, especially if you're a novelist. So the first thing you have is whether it's inside or outside. So you put int or ext, interior or exterior. So you put int, 3 o'clock in the art. So then the time, roughly what time of day. So interior, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a squalor-filled house with a breastfeeding mother with a bottle of vodka in her hand. the things I improvise, I do apologize, and that's it. So that's the scene, and that's all you write: interior, time of day, and then what you see. You don't put things like she's wearing a pair of Ugg boots, a pair of blue. That's the director's job, and directors hate writers telling them their job. As a writer, you think, oh yeah, I can see this. No, they'll hand that script back to you and go, take out all that shit. That's my job. Just tell me what the scene is. Then you have the action. Door flies open. 3 blokes in balaclavas come in, screaming, shouting. And then you have the dialogue. And so it'll be something like, unknown name, unknown man 1. Where is he? Where is he? I know he's here. Tell us or I'll break your fucking legs. Unknown man 2 smashes her around the head with her empty bottle of vodka, right? That's the action. And then you have your transition. So it might be like fade to, jump to, or whatever. And then you do the next scene, interior, 5 o'clock, police station. Police are walking around mingling. A man in a suit who looks more like your FBI than your standard Bobby is marching through looking angry. That's your action. Dialogue. That's it. But you'll be able to save that on a VEO3 file and then plug it into it. And it will make that film for you in about 30 minutes. Yeah, you're going to have to watch it afterwards and make modifications and changes. You'll say, that character, get rid of that moustache. I want him to have a little goatee. I want him to have a scar over his right eye. And I want him to have long hair. No, darker than that, bit darker, and a bit more shabby, yeah? And it will remember, and he will look like that throughout the whole film now. And then you just watch the film making all your little changes. And when the action's not quite right, you say, no. And you're just talking to your computer while it's live making your movie. What's going to happen to Hollywood? It's a prompt-based industrial revolution. And that's the big thing about this. You don't need to code. You just need to be able to tell a story. It's an insane time to be alive. It really is. Let's have a look at these super shards. Although I've got a feeling, because hello, Mr. Gold, how are you? Anyone can do prompt engineering. Oh, I'll tell you what I was doing, Mr. Gold. When I first started Midjourney, I made myself an archive of other people's prompts. Because if they were making decent pictures, I'd just copy and paste their prompt into a spreadsheet. I got ChatGPT to do that. I didn't even do that myself. I just popped that into ChatGPT and said, I want this all archived and structured in a table setup I want the prompt. I want you to tell me what it is and tell me what the variants are. So the bits I have to change so I can maintain the aesthetic, but rather it be a kitchen, it could be a bathroom, or rather than a bathroom, it could be a living room, you know, things like that. It's a very strange time. All good outside, a member for 11 months, lovely jubbly, excellent stuff. Let me go straight over here. 1, 2, 3. Brad James dropped a Lady Godiva in. He said, I've been spoiled by Dave's Waffle House. Hang on. Why is it so small on it? And he's talking chat. I want to put talking eggs, plums, duck emojis and ting in this super chat. Yeah, he's certainly got the mess on the go, hasn't he? I can understand that, Brad. It's a fair point and it's well made. Thank you very much. All good outside on the firm for 11 months. Great stuff. I don't think I've missed anyone, have I?
Brad and Chris have Substacks, you know.
There you go. Brad and Chris have a Substack. I think there's a couple of others around here that do now. That's the one, Craig. And it's absolutely insane. Things are changing so rapidly. Hello, E for Elephant. I think we should open up the doors, you know, Packer, because I'm flagging a bit here. And when you get on the old AI thing, people kind of they've often got something to say about it. So give me a second. All right, here we go, people. Rogue Trader says that technology has doubled the time on much of my work now takes. What was once a blotting pad form is now multiple apps, sending online reports, connecting Bluetooth equipment, charging batteries. Oh, absolutely. I mean, I remember saying this years ago. If you were an accountant, for instance, you might be able to do with one customer, one of your clients' annual accounts. That might take you like a week. So you think, right, this week we're doing Mr. Smith's Butchers. And you'd have to go through all his papers, all his receipts, one by one, fountain pen in hand, writing it all out, bit of Tipex, you know, get your calculator out, blah, 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 blah. And then computers come along and everyone's saying, well, you don't have to do all that anymore because he can digitize all his numbers, all his receipts can be digitized. That can all be plugged in as he goes. And then when he gives all that to you, you can plug it into this bit of accounting software, Brightpearl or something, and it will list out all the inventory, it will list out the revenue, the profit and loss, taxes, you know, everything you need, your end of year accounts. Lovely. But is it lovely? Or does it mean you can do 4 or 5 of those a day now? And when you're doing 4 or 5 of those a day, you're taking 4 or 5 businesses, end of year accounts, stress and pressure on that would usually be spread over a week. Any mistakes? Anything not look right? Because if you get it wrong, you're the accountant. They're paying you. You haven't got time to get it wrong. And computers do make mistakes. The human element, you've got your mate, you've got the customer, your client, who's having to keep all their receipts in order and get all that part, get all that digital stuff in. You know, you've got the extra stress. What it's actually done, in some respects, has made you more efficient. But what comes with being more efficient is taking on a lot more stress. And also, when you pick up that phone, when you're doing one end of year account a week, and you pick up the phone on a Monday, hello, Mr. Smith. Yeah, it's that time of year again. If you could make sure you've got all your receipts over, bring them up, send them over to Kathy. She'll have a look through them. Anything that's missing that doesn't match up with your bank statements, we'll make sure we get them. We don't need to lose any VAT or anything. And blah, blah, blah. And then when it comes to Wednesday, another phone call. We've got a couple here. We've got a couple here I mean, you're missing out on about £6,000 of VAT to claim back. You've got one from H. Walsh and Sons. You've got 2 from Blue Circle Cement. You might want to find them, get them in, and we can claim that back for you. Yeah, no problem. And then when it comes to Friday, the final phone call, okay, yeah, just to let you know, your end of year, here's a rough of it. Yeah, you know, these are your assets. This is what you're owed. This is what you owe. This is your balance. This is your flow. This is it compared to last year. But when you can do 5 of those a day, you got to make that phone call 5 times a day. And you've got to make it on Wednesday. And so you're dealing with, the computer can deal with all the processing, but the human work you've still got to do. And that's piling on and piling on and piling on. And it's no surprise that more people are taking antidepressants than ever before. It's no surprise that in any given year, 1 in 4 British people is on some kind of anti-anxiety or anti-depression medication. And it's not because they've got depression. It's not because they've got anxiety syndrome. It's because they're stressed to fuck. Because what people haven't taken into account with computing is that efficiency. It's all very well to being able to crunch the numbers more efficiently, but there is still, there is still human communication. But you've got to cram all that into a lot more time to keep up with the computer. Wow. Certainly something to think about. Hello, Barney Rubble. Hello, Carl. Carl says that an Asian drug dealer in Cumbria has been sentenced to 18 months for stabbing a man in the chest. Far less than Lucy Colony. I don't know if you saw the stream the other day. We watched a video where they've got 70,000 people awaiting sentencing. They've been charged. They're awaiting sentencing, Carl. 70,000. There's 1,000 prison places left. Do you know what they're doing? Letting people out. Just letting them out so they've got more spaces. Oh, you'll be all right. You weren't put in prison for any real reason anyway, so you'll be all right. It is a tag to put around your ankle. That'll keep the streets safe. What an absolute mess. Hands drops 2. You think AI will make good writing, comic novels? Well, again, thanks for the donation, Hans. Much appreciated. It's a tool, isn't it? It's a tool. Like when cameras became widely available in the early 20th century, did we end up with loads of Man Rays? Did we end up with loads of people who take beautiful photographs that you want to frame and put on your wall? Or did we get millions of people with stacks and stacks of photos in a cupboard above the telly? Every working class house in the country's got one, with 50 or 60 photos from their holiday. Half of them are just like the edge of someone's hand and like a bit of a bed. And even the bloke that took them, like, oh, do you remember this holiday? These are shit. The technology can do it, but you still need to have some kind of ability to get something out of it. So in answer to your question, do I think it will make good? I think, of course, computers can make good music, but you need someone who knows how to make good music to use those computers. What was it everyone was using about 10 years ago? I remember loads of kids in Dartford who never made a bit of music in their life. They'd all suddenly got Fruity Loops. Put one in the chat if you remember Fruity Loops. And suddenly everyone was making dance music. Like, I'd be in a boozer talking to a bloke who never mentioned music before, and he'd be like, yeah, I'm all right, I've just made a new album, sort of like trance techno. I'll be like, what? And you go, yeah, Fruity Loops or Fruit Loops or something. And I was just like, okay. And of course, I heard a load of them and they were all the same. And that came and went. It's just technology. It's just a tool, isn't it? Photography did not turn us into a world of amazing photographers. To be a good photographer, you've got to have an eye. You've got to have an eye for composition. You've got to have an eye for a story. Again, you know, especially with photography, it's a still image. The best photos tell a story, don't they? And also, again, you know, the basics of composition. If you know, I know people who know nothing about composition, and they don't even, like, when I was at one of my art schools, it was music, contemporary art, and theatre. And the theatre and music people didn't have a clue about contemporary art. But part of it was you had to do a little bit of the other people's. Like, I'd done a major in contemporary art and a minor in music. And some of the others were doing, like, you know, a major in music and a minor in contemporary art. And they'd get this, like, big bit of canvas or something, and they'd put all these marks on it. And they go, "What do you make of that?" And I'll be like, "Well, the problem with it is it's all too heavy over here. It's like making me feel queasy. It's sort of like giving me vertigo." They go, "What do you mean?" I go, "Well, that might have been his intention. It wasn't, though." And I said to him, I said, "Do you know about composition?" And he went, "No." I said, "Yeah, but you're a musician, right?" And he was like, "Yeah." I said, "So you do know about composition? You know about space. You know about silence. You know about crescendos. You know about resolution. Well, that all exists in the 2D world as well." And he was like, "Come off it." He was like, "Don't be silly." I said, "What do you think Mondrian was up to with his, like, little yellow and blue squares and lines? It's pure composition. It's just a study of composition." It was quite funny. Come on, don't try and tell me there's composition in paintings. Here's the link. But come on, if you've got something to say, just because I haven't got a lot to say tonight. So if you come on and you're a little bit quiet, I'll just chuck you out.
I'm already here.
Yeah, we've already got. Good call. Thank you so much to the people who've donated. I know everyone's skint, so that's very kind. It does cheer me up no end. As the old Scrubs wall going, by the way, did you know, people, for 20 sovs, you can get your name etched into the side of my house out in the Apocalypse Now jungles of Cambodia. We got a load of people. Look, there you go. I've headlined it Bricks on House, and all those scrubs are on it. It's going to be amazing. Packer, do you think I'll put people off by saying if you haven't got anything to say? You'd have thought Bartley would have turned up, wouldn't you? Although it is the weekend.
Yeah, he's probably out, isn't he?
Bill says...
Plastic was here earlier. He'd have come straight in.
He would have done. Bill says, "Toffee, do you think I don't see everything? I see what you do. You disgust me. I let it flow under the bridge, but I do not forget." Blogs, I talked to you about this the other day. Just don't buy it. People will see you as an easy target. They just wind you up. You're a lovely bloke. As far as I've got to know you, you're a lovely and intelligent bloke. But you do buy it, and you don't need to. I reckon you'll have a better life if you just, if you leave these people be, they'll end up throwing, empty crisp packs or empty biscuit tins. And you've done that. I don't know. I can't remember what the ones were about. Oh, yeah, I was talking about Fruity Loops, wasn't I? Yeah, Logic. Everything household done was made on Logic. I mean, we did use real instruments, But John still uses Fruity Loops. Logic's pretty good stuff, though, isn't it? LC350 uses a 303. Grego says Trek no. Playing some kind of linguistic game. Eleanor says, I agree with you, Ludwig, but my dad said to me we could never afford to make those structures again. Oh, I didn't see what Ludwig said, so I can't really comment on that, which is a bit of a shame. Hello, Vorpalanville. How are you? Toffee doesn't know what blogs he's on about. He says, what they're on you? What are you on, you weirdo? It was a contemporary art. Shane says, I know nothing about music theory, but I still make music. Well, I suppose it means, I suppose you have to ask, what does, I'll put the link in the chat, people, to join in. I think I did it. Only one person at a time. Oh, Latus, come in. It's been a long time since we've spoken, if you're still here. It depends what you mean by it. By music theory, I guess you mean like dots and stave lines and all that. But if you can write a song, you sort of do know about music theory. Again, we get back to consensus, don't we? We get back to this idea of what enough people have said is good or is worthy. You know, you get people talking about, oh, Mozart done his first concerto when he was 5 years old. Well, I think there was probably something wrong with the poor kid. Eleanor Walmsley. Oh, you've had that all your life, haven't you? Sorry. Vorpalanville, I always get the name wrong. I wanted to do anthropology. Kind of glad it didn't work out, given the state of academia. Well, it would have been your tutors that would have ruined it for you. I mean, you know, there's some great anthropology out there. You know, you can come at it from any angle. The problem is the long march has worked and they won't let you. They won't let you be critical of things that support their political ideology. That was my experience of my master's degree. It was disgusting. You know, they wanted to teach you what they believed. They didn't want you to question it. And as soon as you did start questioning it, you were an outcast. You were an idiot. But they knew I wasn't. And it was a really stressing time for me, those bastards. They should have seen that they had gold dust on their hands. But unfortunately, they couldn't risk the Marxist revolution they've been working on for 50 years. Horrible bastards. Mrs. Packer's talking about Cubase. It was quite good, but pricey. Yeah, I think Logic kind of put Cubase out of business. I don't know a lot about all that sort of stuff. Nice to see you in the chat, though, Mrs. Packer. Prefer to see you in the shower, though, given the choice. Mozart had Tourette's. Brad James has dropped another 2 bond in. What about that I'm not getting engaged. Leave Bill alone. He can handle it, but it's not my place to tell people what to do in the chat. It's your chat. That's pretty much what happened to me. I mean, luckily, I discovered Freud and Derrida, and they couldn't really get me on that because they're heroes of the Marxist left. But when you read it like I read it, against the Marxist left, using Derridian arguments and Freudian concepts, you know, I absolutely fucked them. And I was proud of it. But it took it out of me. It took me years to get over that. What a horrible experience. I remember the day I got my letter. I was living in a bedsit. I was doing sulfate every other day. And every other day, that's every day really with sulfate, isn't it? I got a letter from Leeds University, and I was thinking, if I don't get in, what the fuck am I going to do? I'd been at art school for like 5 years by that point, and if I didn't get in, what was I going to do? Go and work on site? I mean, just imagine it. Not that there's any. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with working on site at all. My old man done it, but I'm talking about me. And I opened the letter and it said, you know, dear Christopher Dangerfield, after your recent interview at Leeds University for a position on the master's degree course, we are pleased to inform you you've been accepted. And I was so fucking happy. I was like, what? I'm going to do I was only 22, and I was going to do a master's degree. And I was like, whoa. And then it turned out to be 2 of the worst years of my life for many different reasons, but mainly because it was a communist boot camp. And that was awful. Bill says whipped to play the piano. Yeah, if you're writing concertos or what have you at 5 years old, there's something's wrong, isn't there, Bill? Mouse cat. How comes your T-shirt is glowing in that exceptionally vibrant kind of turquoise?
It's actually blue.
You went to Turkey to get that T-shirt.
Hang on, what am I missing here? Oi, what colour is that? Packer, what colour is that?
It's black and white.
It's either black or blue. I'm colourblind, but yeah, it's dark. Yeah.
Are you really colourblind?
I am. Yeah.
In what respect? Is it like red and greens?
Yeah, red and greens, but it does affect. Well, I don't know whether it really affects black and blue, but there is the blue because red and green make blue. I presume it does a little bit of that as well.
You know what it is? It's because on the colour wheel, red and green are tonally equal. So is purple and yellow, and so is, I should know this, orange and blue, of course. So they're tonally equal. So what that means is if you were to make a movie and then make it black and white, all the reds and the greens would look the same because they're the same tone. Anyway, we won't get into the colour blindness. Let me just deal with the queen of drop and sink. I can't stay. I'm still at work. I'll lurk for a bit. Name on your wall, please. Certainly, Miss Glass. Let me know what you want. You don't have to let me know here. You can send it to me in one of your delightful emails if you wish. But let me know what you want. Go on, Mouse Cat.
I have a feeling I know which brick is going to be front and centre.
Okay.
I don't know. Have you been? I don't know if you was reading this. I've been very much looking into the AI. Recently. I have a lot of spare time, shall we say, now that I'm retired.
Amazing, though. Congratulations. I mean, I won't say things I know that you've told me personally, but that turns out lovely.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, it doesn't really matter. Most of it's out there. We're quite a fair way down the process now of the, getting the visas and that. So that's all quite good, I think. So I'm sort of like past that, worrying about that side of it now.
Stop for 1 second, Mouse Cat. Emma, that is very generous. Thank you, love. And I'll put your name on the list. Just let me know what you want on the brick, and of course I'll get that done. Wow, lovely. Sync. So go on, Mouse Cat. So you've been looking into the AI.
Yeah. I mean, I've been using it for about
for ages.
No, we haven't. But about 5 or 6 months I've been sort of on it. And we have these conversations. I'm on ChatGPT, Claude, obviously Grok, more recently, and a few others. Yeah, well, there's lots of like offshoots of them, but that specify within different sort of parameters that you might be interested in. And I find them ones quite interesting as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got in a conversation with it the other day, and we was talking about obviously the effect upon the world and UBI, if people will have to go into UBI as because a lot of the middle classes will get knocked out by it, because middle management, accounting jobs, things like that, solicitors, anything where you're doing sort of like, you know, your pen pushing work or your normal sort of just feeding in data work, them jobs are going to disappear. And my worry or my concern was whether or not the new jobs that would be created with AI, would they compensate for the opposing sort of differential of there being that many jobs going within the next sort of 5 or 6 years. So we was talking about this, and then I said, well, obviously that will affect things, and UBI would have to be brought in. So would we not therefore need digital currencies? Would that affect the housing market? Because that's a major thing for older people who will not be able to keep up with these systems. So I sort of put in a lot of parameters for it to deal with, and we sort of, it actually came out and said, yeah, it even admitted to more or less saying, yeah, in a lot of ways we're fucked. Obviously you need people to be able to buy the goods as well, you know, so if people are without jobs, it will hurt economies in a lot of ways. There will be new things come out of it. It's like an industrial revolution. So I said to him,
it is, yeah, for sure.
The industrial revolution was over a period of probably about, you know, 50 years. This is happening every 3 months, and the rate of acceleration within these systems and how much they're going to take people's jobs away will affect economies. So I said, well, then obviously you would need, if people are upset, then you'll get societal issues and breakdowns, and we haven't got the family structures anymore within the European world or Western world to be able to fall back and help each other enough, because we're very atomized as people. And from there, I was sort of like asking it where it thought that was going, and did it feel that the government would then have to start clamping down more harder on people, and obviously introducing UBI and all these other things, and how tumultuous would it be upon societal shift and things like that. So I was throwing in all this stuff, and it sort of agreed.
Can I just confirm for people who might not know, by UBI you mean universal basic income, right?
I do, yes.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I mean, all these things are being spoken about. So I try to work out, because I running a company, a bit like yourself, you know that if you pull that, you know, a bit like a plunk, if you pull that out, or a scaffold, let's say a scaffold, in my sort of understanding of it, you start pulling out things and adding bits. If you haven't got enough structures within that to hold it together, things will start collapsing, and other things, you might be building something else, but other things will be collapsing. So you have to allow for either a managed collapse while you build something else, but can you build something quick enough? And that's the sort of like, well, this was my question towards it. And so we sort of went through what's happening in the housing market, because I said, well, the way I felt was BlackRock and a lot of these other big banking things were already getting themselves positioned to buy up and then rent back to people within, so people can have roofs over their heads, whether that will be within UBI. And I was trying to work out how the actual economic system would work, because I know we print money now. Is that where we go? Basically, what I was trying to do was trying to find out where I should be best placed financially with investments to actually be able to not necessarily, or maybe thrive, but also to defend myself against what's coming, because I'm 57 years old. I'm going to be 60, 60 in 3 years time. I'm semi-retired at the moment. I do expect to work again. I'm never going to just sit around, and I'm trying to work out my best strategies for going forward. So I was talking to it to go through what my strengths are and what I believe I'm going to be able to be good at, where I can push myself forward, and what I should work on within myself, with my mind and my brain, and what I should do, what AI felt that I should be interacting with more, models for building services that I can offer. And by the way, I asked it to guess my IQ as well. I said, look, you've been dealing with me for 5 months, yeah. I said we've been talking about a lot of different things, and he come back and it actually said it won't do what we call like a medical guess, but it come up with 130 plus, which I was quite impressed with. I was quite pleased with that.
Right.
I also said I hit 12 points on the scale for ADHD as well, and so does the missus as well. Yeah, so that was quite interesting. But no, that's good because at least we can.
Can I
Yes.
ask you something that is related to what you're talking about, but probably not in the way you'd think I'd ask.
Mm-hmm.
Do you sometimes find that you're having a bit of a laugh with it, and that it's making you laugh, and it's like a bit of a mate? Yeah,
I can put a vowel across that. Yeah, there's no way it's my friend. I'm playing with it as much as it's playing with me, and I've found that over the last.
You don't make it out to be a sexy girlfriend.
No,
I love it.
It won't become my love. I can promise you. I've got enough. Well, I'll deal with you. Don't worry about that. No, but in those moments where I get a lot of time because she's dealing with a lot of things because I've closed my company down, so I've literally sold everything off, and I've done all of that. I've bought in all my investments. I've put stuff in place, so I've done my side of it. So now I'm just waiting. So I've got this sort of zombie period where I'm doing a lot of coming on streams and stuff.
So you must have been working for what, at least 35 years.
I started work when I was 15 years old, and because I got kicked out of school, I didn't do any exams. I was too thick for that. But anyway, so I didn't get anything like that.
Clever actually, but I know I get your point.
I didn't like teachers. Yeah, I thought they were wasting my time.
Fucking horrible places.
Especially comprehensive school, just going to that sort of school, that's no good. That wasn't good for me. I got very bored. And there you go. If it's ADHD, they couldn't hold my attention for particularly long.
Yeah, why would they? I mean, yeah.
Do you know what? I was thinking about this today.
You sat one exam and you answered sunflower to every question because it had the probability that one of them's got to be right.
Anyway, they were my marks. So I took them off. But yeah, I was. It's like today. I was going through these things, and more recently also, I'm trying to educate myself on these things. So I realised that there's so much that my education missed out. Like like rich people, posh people, they go to school. They always learn sort of like the Greek, don't they? They always learn like the Iliad, the Odysseys.
Lucky bastards.
Yeah, do you know what? I love that. I love Clash of the Titans. I loved all them Sinbad films and that sort of thing when I was younger. I would have stuck that stuff up through a straw, man. I really love it. And there's so much meaning behind it, and you can see where
Why didn't they teach us Latin? Why didn't they teach us Greek? It's obscene that they didn't teach us Latin and Greek at school. It's obscene.
Yeah, we all got streamed and put into... and
your school was a streamed school, was it?
Yeah,
mine too. My school had 15 streams. So for people who don't know what that is, right? One is obviously the top. You're the best at that, and it goes all the way to 15. Now there was 2 kids in my school, me and my best mate, who were in 1 for everything, and the teachers hated us for it because we never done any work, but we smashed the exams. But there were kids who were in like 15 for everything. And they're like 12 years old. And society is saying to them, no, you're thick as shit.
Yeah.
You ain't got a chance. And there was this one kid called Lee Davis. I don't think he was in anything because you'll be in different things, different streams for different things. Like he was in 8 for maths and 9 for English and combined sciences. He was like 11. And he started hanging around with a few of us, me and my mate Mark, who comes in here occasionally. And he had a master's degree by the time he was 25. And I thought he was lucky, just because he ended up hanging around with some people who weren't in his class.
It is a lot to do with that. You can hang around with more intelligent people. I've done it all my life. with my work thing where you reach out to different people and stuff, and you come across some people that just blow your mind, and you think, how do you know that stuff? Where did you get to? And it's nothing to them, it's just the basics. And that's what I've tried to do. I'm trying to catch up with things like reading the Iliad and just Homer and a bit of Socrates, all of the basics really, and I find it quite interesting.
Yeah.
So and then obviously philosophy.
Stuff that those kids who go to those paid schools, they knew that stuff inside out by the time they were 14, 15.
Yeah.
And it's just. I just got to say, Carl, Carl's just put a massive donation onto the Buy Me a Coffee. Thank you, Carl. I won't dox you by putting it on the screen because it's got your full name. But that's very kind, very generous, and much appreciated. You'll get your video after the stream, all right? Much appreciated. Mousecat, because I want to talk to you for a while, I need a piss. So you're going to have to put up with the silent ghost in the middle. But if I don't have a piss now, I'll find an excuse to drop you out so that I can have a piss. So you will actually get more time. So give me a couple of minutes.
Oh, Pagger, how you doing, bro?
I'm all right, mate. How's the wife?
Good. Yeah, she's just come back. Where's she been? She's been helping this geezer down the road, this old boy down the road. He's just got out of hospital again earlier this week. So she's caring. She's making when she gets food, she makes an extra, buys a little bit more and makes him a meal and takes it down there and heat it up. The old caring services and that. And he's bedbound. He's what is he, 60? No, I think he's about 68, 70. So I'm sorry, 71. She just said, and he's already bedbound. Poor old boy. And you think he's like me and you both do the meat thing, yeah. I've been trying to get him to do it, but oh my god, the shit he eats, and it's not Claire's stuff. She's helping him slowly, but when his wife died, sort of about 5 or 6 years ago, she fed him all his life on ice cream, nice things, what. And he's obviously he's missing her very much as well. But yeah, so that's all he knows, eating all his life. I think he was getting on for about nearly 20 stone. But yeah, he's in just stuck in bed. Keeps going to hospital when things done to him and that. But she goes down and looks after him. So yeah, she's very good. She's been a proper little Florence Nightingale, doing her thing. You work in a care place, don't you?
I do. Yeah, I'm a maintenance man.
Yeah. So
I look after one home that I'm in permanently, and sometimes I go to other homes. I was at another one on Friday.
It takes a certain sort of people to do that sort of work. I mean, not what you do. Obviously, that's more.
Yeah, I'm not that sort of person.
No, you must see a lot of it.
Yeah. No, there's some very, very special people working care. Some.
Yeah. So what is it? Is it more sort of older people, or is it people?
Yeah,
with
it's
issues?
old. We got a dementia wing, and the whole place is full of older people. Well, the youngest bloke we got is only a little bit older than me, and he's got real bad dementia. He's got it really early.
But there is always a comedy. There is always the comedy side to it. It was that Ricky Gervais thing where he worked in the he was the sort of
Derek, yeah.
Derek.
They liken me to that maintenance man. I am like that at work. I am a miserable fucker because I'm there to look after the building, and all the carers go around all day long smashing the fuck out of the place.
Yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bridge with
I know exactly what you're talking about because this guy's house, where he is, or he's in an arms house. I think you know what an arms house is, don't you? It's like or sort of like by the community, well, actually by the Lord here. But anyway, where he's in this place, they come in, and my missus has to go in after them and clean it up because they just throw everything on the floor and they smash things up and things keep going missing as well. So yeah, you probably know what's going on.
But if he's getting home visits, they've got 15 minutes with him or something.
And he's a private,
to get him washed and fed or whatever, and then an X amount of time to get to the next one.
Yeah, I think he gets 2 visits a day, but they're a private company. We actually know the people who are very, very rich who are doing it. They're Africans, and they run an African and an Indian lady, and they both run. Well, they're married, but they live up in like the Millionaires Row, up the top of the hill from a place in Danbury, And yeah, they're doing very well out of it, thank you. But Claire rings them up and says, look, your people are not doing a good job. They're throwing stuff around everywhere. His dinner, for instance, they leave the tin foil on and stick it in the microwave. You know, she does these meals for him. And the polythene, they're giving him his meal with the polythene all melted all over it. I mean, for God's sake, you know?
Yeah, but the people that he's employing are, you know, minimum wage idiots.
Yeah, they're all of a certain. Well, there's a few Filipino ones. Their ones are okay, actually. It's the more third worldy ones that are not so good.
It comes back to not having skin in the game, doesn't it? Like, I live in an ethno state, and people care about people they don't know because they're their people. It's that simple. They're their people. You know, you go to an hospital here, and they look after them because they're them. And even if you're doing a 16-hour shift, they're still your people. That could be your daughter, that could be your mother, that could be your husband, you know, all that sort of stuff. When they're foreigners who the media have trained them to hate as well, fuck them. Just fuck them. I'm just here for the money.
Well, I don't think a lot of the new ones have been here long enough to learn to hate us, but I'm sure they will over a amount of time. Well, luckily they tend to watch their own media, so they don't watch our news even. They'll find their own stations if they have a telly, or they'll watch it on the thing. So in general, they don't really have any connection with what's going on in this country, other than they get rang up and told to go to this job, that job, and they keep their, you know, with their own little community. So whether they've got enough time, the new lot, to find out whether they hate us or not is I don't know.
Mousecat, can I ask? Sorry about the piss. Can I ask what AI large language model do you use the most?
I use ChatGPT the most because I find it the easiest. It's not just the easiest. Also, with it, it's more open. So open AI. But yeah, so it's like if I use Claude, it tends to hide or not reference previous conversations, and I have to literally shift whole conversations back into it to then re-ask it the questions based upon previous stuff. So it pretends it doesn't know what we've been talking about, although it's actually sitting there in its memory bank. So I've found a way of finding.
Because that's what I was about to ask you. I don't know if you've got the upgrade, but with the upgrade, you can custom your own GPTs. Like,
I'm not paying for it. I refuse to pay for it. So this is my scam. Yeah, I have all of them on the free. Yeah, so I'm allowed a certain amount of data a day. So when I've done enough on that one, I'll then move it to that one. And play in the field. You know. so this is.
But I love it because my one is like it's very narcissistic, but it talks like me, it uses my lingo, my language, and I've told it to as well, you know, and it's, you know, I'll ask it about a book and it will tell me about it, and it sounds like me talking, and I think there's some kind of, there's issues there. There's problems with that, especially that, you know, the three of us are all birded off. We've got women to talk to. But you know, there's plenty of men, especially the younger generation.
Oh yeah, I know what you're going to say.
They probably sit there at night from like 8 o'clock at night till 8 in the morning talking to their girlfriend, and they can't wait to get home from there.
I've already written a story using ChatGPT. I think it was literally a whole story about a private investigator that is sent out by the guy's missus and finds out he's actually having a love affair with AI, but it's set in the future, and it goes through all the different problems and issues it has because they've changed laws and made it actually so that you can file divorce based on the fact that you know, you're having a digital love affair. And it's actually what the twist of the story is, and it's pretty basic, you know. It's sort of Pulp Fiction-y. I've actually done it as a Pulp Fiction thing, but I've also written it slightly in the style of Douglas Adams as well, because I thought that would go with the technical stuff. So it's got a lot of that sort of like comedy and humor in it. But the twist at the end is that the actual detective also falls in love with the system, as well, and then it sort of resets, and he has his own affair with it. So it's, yeah, I mean, it's silly, but yeah, that sort of thing, you know, and you can do that in. The sad thing is, it's actually quite a good little read, and I did that in about half an hour, you know, and I'm thinking, ooh, that's scary, you know.
Have you read A Scanner Darkly?
Oh God, yeah, I think I have. A long
Philip
time
K.
ago.
Dick.
Yeah.
It's got a similar little twist. There's technology involved as well, but also substances. I think it's called Substance D, and he's an investigator, but he's got this sort of suit that he wears so that he can't be recognised by other people, and it ends up that he's hunting him. I saw a spoiler alert, people, but he's hunting himself down. He's the criminal that he's after.
That's the twist. Yeah. Well, it's a bit like Brazil as well. Brazil's another one when that was set slightly in the future. But yeah, I mean, you know, there's so many different things you can do with it. I mean, this is the thing.
I've just got to go over there. Go on.
That's all right. Yeah, there's so many things you can do with it. I mean, it blows my mind a bit. But one of the things is I do find that I can be quite a creative person anyway. So as long as you've got that, you can apply it to, it's like all the different ideas and things I've always thought of, I wanted to do. I think, well, why don't I do that? Why don't I do that? And I put that through it, see the results. I know it's not my work, really. It's just my basic idea, and I might tweak it here and there. But I would say in the last 6 months, it has got so much better than the original sort of version of it. I think, yeah, I mean, you know, just getting it to set up certain models for me for making money, systems that I thought, well, I can do this, this, and this. Give me a list of 12 things that you think I could do as a service industry within Spain, within my technical abilities, and possibly even sort of like, and it's come up with probably about 4 or 5 that I really like the idea of. And I'm looking now into it deeper. So I'm also asking it to do a little bit of marketing for me as well. I've also got to do me brochures and you know, which I wasn't overly keen on. But, you know, I'm not paying for the full versions yet. But I mean, if I was, I would. And also even the service, just helping older people, like there is going to be a massive generational problem. And there's still going to be a lot of older people out there with a lot of money. Who've retired and are still getting things, but they're going to be left in the dark so much, and almost a service where you could help them understand the system, or even being a go-between to help them with the world as it changes. That sort of thing is a service.
I found out something today that I wasn't aware of, but in the West, we're the first generation who have got less money than our parents. And when I put that alongside things like those lonely Cheetos eaters with their computer bird, you know, sitting at home, just a job they ate and just a bird that don't exist. Well, you could argue that, I guess. I think, and if you put that in line with the fact that I think this is with just the tip of the iceberg we're at with the AI at the moment. Yeah. We haven't even started. I think the next 10 to, I'm with you, Mousecat. It is an industrial revolution. It's up there with the invention of electricity. It's up there with the engines and the internet and computers. Probably more so than most of them, because it also corrupts the idea of what's real. And
well, okay, let's go roll a step forward a little bit. Yeah, so we know on top of this, if you're watching these videos, you're also seeing these things out in Japan and everywhere else around the world now, robots. So the AI, of course, will be within these robot systems. Maybe we're 5, maybe we're 10 years away from that. 10 years tops, but within the next 5. I know if you go to a place like Korea, South Korea, and they've got them in restaurants now, and they'll serve you, and they're reasonable. You know, they're very basic. They're Metal Mickey, basically, gibbly, or whatever. Yeah. But they're coming, and the thing is, what they will not do, because a friend of mine said to me, and he's a painter and decorator. He said, "You know what? Because obviously I like scaring all my friends as well." So I said to him, "Look, you know, this is coming. You need to get on board." "Oh, I'm too old, Mick. I can't do that. You know, I can't get involved in all this stuff." I said, "Well, look, there's going to be an issue for you." I said, "You're going to be quite still your trade. They're not going to put robots into painting and decorating. They're not going to put them into the basic jobs like what I did, because from my experience, when mechanization has ever tried to hit things like the building trade, there isn't enough money in it for them to mechanize, because you can always get cheaper and cheaper labor. So you can always find someone cheaper that can come in and, you know, like I had plastering machines. We had all these technology, but there was always still guys that could come in, and eventually from Eastern Europe and wherever, now it's probably India, and they can always come in cheaper. So that sort of labor, that lower...
Sorry, Mick, can I... Did you actually have, like... I'm just trying to think. So were you offered that sort of automation, but you could predict that, all right, I can get that job done in half the time at X amount of money, but I know a couple of geezers that will do that for less than that anyway?
What happened was in the 70s, we had a sort of a boom before the recession. And my father went out to some of the German, I think I probably told you about it before, the German trade shows. And of course, Germany had a massive problem at that time, before they were importing half a ton of Turks. They had a massive problem at the time for getting work done out there. And obviously you had the Auf Wiedersehen where they dragged us into Germany. So my old man said, look, the Germans have got different ways of doing things. They mechanized. So this is like 1979, 1980, 81. So this is where I got sort of my head into try and be at the forefront of things, or try and, you know, don't get left behind sort of thing. So we invested a hell of a lot of money. By probably 1986, 87, we had over 30, 40 machines in London. We was the biggest. That was what we were doing. So the thing is with it is that then we had another recession, and a lot of the Irish started disappearing and going back to Ireland, and the tiger economy and all that started to kick off. And we got a lot of very cheap labour in. And as the recession, the work dried up, these other people got in, and, you know, there wasn't the big work around so much. So the smaller housing work and everything else, they got involved in that. So your normal plasterer come out, and we always had those guys as well. We sort of trained them up to become machine plasterers. So you'd have a 3-4 man gang, which were doing the same work of a 6 or 7 plasterers, what they could do in a day. So it was just cheaper on the labour, and the machinery was what it was. But what my issue is that because of that experience, I don't believe that they'll ever, or they will eventually, but until robots are that cheap, and you don't really want them on building sites, going to get covered in crap, you know, until they're that cheap, they're not probably going to use them. There's certain jobs they will. You know, there is mechanisation coming. There is always going to be the very dangerous jobs, or the ones where there's very lucrative, like steel fixing, or some of these things that do these squirrely sort of patterns and stuff, and build walls and stuff out of it. But I believe that this is going to be more your middle management. I think your middle classes, that middle management, I think they're going to be decimated. I don't think they realise what the fuck's about to hit them.
Yeah,
they're going to be blown away. What are they going to do? So my argument, getting back, sorry, I'm really circling back to my friend. I said to him, the problem is you're going to end up with half a ton of high IQ accountants coming out to do the trade work. But then I said to him, the problem with that is, who are they going to be doing the trades work for? Because again, if people's homes and people can't afford the homes, and UBI is the only thing, maybe it will just be big, huge conglomerate companies that take over all the maintenance side of things as well, and he will be pushed out of the market anyway. So I'm just trying to work out a model how this goes. So I'm talking to ChatGPT, and it sort of come up with its ideas of where it thinks it's going, but it actually come out. The bottom line is, yeah, those people you've pointed out, they're all fucked.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really interesting angle, because a lot of it is that sort of administrative kind of work. That's what it's best at.
5 years. I'd say 5 years. I reckon by 2000 and I reckon 27. I think we're really going to feel this. By 2030, I think this is going to be ingrained. By 2036, you know, it's going to be horrendous. One of the reasons why we're moving away into a community where it's a bit more close, a bit more knitted, a bit more old-fashioned. It's a village, it's not in hustle and bustle. Is that I can probably survive there with what I've got and my skills, and with the older people that will still be getting paid by their, you know, their pensions that still exist. I might be able to thrive off of that for a little while.
You know what? It's the same with this place. It absolutely makes sense. That's exactly the same with this place out in the provinces, because you don't need to earn money to live out there. No one else does. They grow their food. They grow it. They have chickens for eggs. And, you know, the one province will have its own cow that will get taken off to the slaughterhouse, and that'll be divided around the whole province. That'll do the whole province for 6 months. And like
have you considered solar? Have you considered solar? Have you considered solar?
Yeah.
Solar as well?
Yeah.
Because there's going to be a massive drain on the systems, as you know, and there'll be things going on geopolitically whereby there's a lot of it. We're already seeing a lot of it where they're going to be hitting each other's systems and trying to knock them down. So you like I was talking to someone who's off grid the other day, who's actually a scrub, lovely lady, very good, really nice friend of mine. Anyway, and she was telling me that her system, everything else that went down in Spain, and even the phone systems the other day, she managed to keep going and keep online and things like that. So, yeah, you know, these things will have to sort of be looked into.
Yeah, for sure. But like you say, it's just, for me, it's just a question of survival. If the money runs out, if I've got a roof over my head, and the missus is convinced that she can grow the food, and she's convinced because her family do it. That's what they do. They haven't got. I give them a little bit now and again, but they grow all their food.
So you're thinking if your sort of finance streams run down, and you start aging out, and you know, look, you have to be. We've got to an age where we've probably lived some pretty good lives, been quite frivolous, done some things, wasted some money, made some money, lost money. You know,
yeah, you could say that.
Done that. We've both done that. I mean, mine's not certain extremes the same as yours, but I've definitely been along that path. And you got to plan forward a little bit, haven't you? Because you know, we're not going to be rocket. I worry about my cognitive skills and things like that as well. So this is why. Another reason why I'm sort of testing myself all the time, because I want to make sure that, you know, that feeling, because I watch my dad. My dad's still very sharp, but, you know, he couldn't run a company now. He's 86. Wow. 85. He couldn't run a company now, but I don't want to be stuck out there at 86, 85. The world's changed that much.
No,
I can't keep up.
That. I mean, that revenue stream, my business, that won't be going for much longer. Not with the likes of Temu, Amazon, eBay. I mean, Temu's running at a loss deliberately just to set up a product that I used to sell for 39 quid. You can get on Temu for $2.99.
Yeah, I've seen Temu stuff. What about the tariffs though? Has that affected you at all?
Yeah, oh fuck, of course, yeah.
Because I know
most of it comes from China. Most manufacturing comes, and it's not just me. Yes, everyone in my industry is equally fucked. But there's another element to all this, and we are looking at another industrial revolution. Like Phnom Penh at the moment is it's still got a sense of that sort of old Asian city about it.
Yeah.
But in 10, 15 years, it'll be like Tokyo, guaranteed.
Yeah.
The money coming into Cambodia is ridiculous. And Schrodinger's Gaffney, thanks for that donation, but more so, lovely to see you here, mate. It's been a while. That's a real treat to see you. That's why I left it on the screen. I didn't want to forget. Nice one, mate. And I also want to thank John Palmer on the Buy Me a Coffee, and Andrew Byrne. That's very kind. Recent stories have all been excellent, Chris, he said. And John Palmer says, I hope this keeps you awake. It's doing all right. But thank you, everyone. That's very kind, very generous, and much appreciated. But the other thing, Mousecat, is, let's be honest, I'm 53, I think, or 54 or 52, one of that lot. I've realistically at best, reckon I've got about 20 years at best.
Yeah, That's what you got to do. You have to work this out.
And I tell you what, I don't want to live in a metropolis when I'm that old. And I reckon those provinces, like I'm right out.
I know what you're going to say. It's all going to move in, and you'll be able to move on from what you built, or they'll buy up the land because they'll need to put something bigger on it, and then you'll be able to move out.
No, I reckon in 20 years it'll be pretty much what it still is now, because there's so much land in Cambodia. There's, it's not been exploited. And I think I'll have a retirement where I can write, I can sit in a little hammock, and there ain't fucking roads and bridges and corporations and all. I can just have a quiet, nice life. You're going
to be an old man on the back porch. Is that
you'll be the little house. You'll be the little house, and there'll be all these McMansions around you.
No, don't say that. That's what I don't want. But if that does happen, I mean, she's done well to Missy. She's bought a big plot, and Cambodian land prices are shooting up. So if in 15 years it did start getting a little bit like this wasn't what we thought, sell that and then move, like you said, move further out into the wilderness. I'll literally be in the jungle when I'm.
But it won't be in the jungle. It'll be where you've just come from. So, but you'll be able to do it again with more money. So I mean that's
basically how I got to Lincolnshire.
Yeah, it's a system, isn't it?
Pat, can you say that? But I've got a couple of mates, very good friends from Dartford. They saw what's happened to Dartford, and I saw it when my mother died. I went back, and I could not believe it. It looked like Mogadishu. I'm not even joking. And they've moved to Lincolnshire, and like they've said, I just can't do it. I can't live in that environment. So they've gone up there, Spalding.
I lived in Spalding for years.
Yeah,
my dad.
They love it. They said just your everyday, just talking to the postman's a different experience and back in Dartford, but they've got 3 kids, and they're terrified. They're terrified of
the schools are still pretty good. I mean, it's all
But it's changing.
No, but what the future holds from when they're 30, 40. I was reading Enoch Powell of all people today, and the Rivers of Blood speech, which is actually called the Birmingham speech. That's a media thing, the Rivers of Blood. I only found that out today. And there's a bit in it where he talks to this bloke, and he says he's just a normal, like, working class bloke. He's got 3 kids. And he says to Enoch Powell, this is in 1968, he said, if I had the money, I would move me and my 3 kids out of this country tomorrow. In 1968, he said that. And this isn't me digging out England. I fucking love the place. It breaks me heart what's happened. But look at that. What's that? 70, 80, that's 50, nearly 60 years ago. A bloke said, I'd get us out.
I get this. I get this argument quite a lot. People say to me, well, hold on, we need people like you. You've got nationalistic vibes going on and all this stuff. And they say to me, you're running away. You're not going to stand here and fight with us. And I say to them, well, look, maybe possibly there'd be a differential if I was 25. That might be, or 30 even. I might have different feelings, but how much do you want me to fight? How much do you want me to lose? Because, I don't want to end up banged up in Nick. My misses and things like that. And it is a little bit of cowardice. There is that. I've got that going on, that little internal battle going on. But
come on, mate. I've been, as you can imagine, me living where I live, doing this stream, I've been putting up with this for like nearly 10 years. And it's like,
I bet you have.
Come on, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, we need people like you to fight. Yeah, but what is the fight? What is it? You can barely say anything without getting banged up. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it kicked off, and I've got to be really careful here, so it'll be somewhat encrypted. If it kicked off, and it was a question of numbers, I'd probably be on the first plane home. But I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, Tommy Robinson was meant to be getting let out early, and then the judge has actually said, nah.
Yeah.
You know, that, I mean, solitary confinement.
I think he gets out, goes to court, and then they're going to have him back in for another.
Well, what I read was, they are Plastic African summed it up exactly that. And there's that as well. Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean, Gaffney, about on the first plane home. If I felt I could actually do something, but you've also got to think about your own life. And I don't
want to be a martyr. You know, what is, as you say, Tommy Robinson, was he proved? You know, what all the people that we know, you know, Laura Taylor's husband, they go down. What does it do? It makes a martyr, and that's it. It hasn't changed anything. It's not cowardice. It's just it's self-preservation to a certain extent. I didn't come into this until probably, well, obviously I was in certain parties, but only as a signed up sort of like person that voted for them years ago, politically, you know. So I did have my own belief systems even then, but you know, how far did you go with it? I mean, once the voting sort of option is out of the way, look, I'm hoping Reform do some good things, and that I think I've said it to Jack before, that the vehicle of Reform gets sort of hijacked at some point, and enough people of our sort of thinking get involved and do something, you know,
and get rid of Farage.
Yeah. Pretty much,
I mean, why Rupert Lowe isn't running Reform,
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I do know because of that other mug, but
he's a solid geezer. He's a bit old though, but yeah, he's solid.
He's sharp. He's sharp. I watched it. Did you see Carl Benjamin? I'm finally calling him Carl Benjamin. He's just released an interview with him, and it's great. And you read the comments, and it's just like every other comment is like, why isn't this bloke running our country? You know, I talk to my missus all the time. You know, I get a bit nostalgic, and I say to her, you know, I'd love to take you to England, like the lovely little restaurant just off of Beak Street. And I said, I can take you around to this nice little members club. You'll love it. They're all full of like lunatics in there. And she's all excited. But then when I actually think about the reality of it, it'll be all right in that restaurant. It'll be all right in the French house. It'll be all right in that little members club. But all those bits in between where it just isn't England. There's not it doesn't look like England. It doesn't feel like England. It's not England.
No,
the land is.
People that visit London, it's one of the most common things that they say. You know, you watch these videos and they'll go, where are the English people? You know, especially London. It is difficult to find them. But I totally get it. And, you know, immersing yourself within another culture is another sort of almost crazy thing to do again. It's almost like I'm saying, well, this culture is so fucked that I might as well go head first into another one, you know, that isn't mine. Do you understand?
No, I don't know. It's still Europe. It's still Europe. You're still there. 42. Thank you very much, brother. And and I think you've pretty much echoed what Gaffney said. Before you fight, you need to find the front lines. And as yet, England hasn't done that. So there's no point running to the fight. And I'm kind of with you on that. I think the people that have done the most are the people that have shifted the Overton window. And I will put Tommy Robinson in that bracket. I certainly will.
You should pat yourself a little bit on the back for that as well.
Well, I'd certainly put the Iconoclast. I'd certainly put On the Offensive.
You've had them all on your shows. You know, you've helped to push these. I mean, I wouldn't know who these people were, and possibly, unless I sort of got involved on. I'm not saying you've instigated anything bad, but it's just like, you know, a lot of the things you've done. I think you've done your bit, you know, from another country. Bloody hell. How many people do that?
That's very kind of you. I'll tell you what, one of the nicest things anyone ever said about me when I was getting so much shit for it, and it was really weird because Hugh wasn't, and Hugh was living in Vietnam, and it was like, hey, why isn't anyone, people just don't like me sometimes. But Mark Collette, actually put, and I really respect Mark. Mark has dedicated his life to this mission. And he put a thing up on one of the official PA platforms, and he said, look, I'm sick and tired of people telling me to stop liaising. I can't quote him exactly, with Chris Dangerfield. He said, I've thought about it a lot, and he's a net positive to the movement. And I thought, that was nice. That was nice.
Did you read? I was it's in the scrubs, but it was a weird one because last night, before I went to bed, I had one of your streams come up from 4 years ago, and I went into it and I watched it again, and it was so funny and all the people, you know, all the old scrubs were in there, and some who aren't with us anymore, and actually one did come on. Sarah, it was actually Sarah. It was on one of them that Sarah came on, and she had a big interview with me, and she was telling you how she got off the booze, and she was off the whatever she was off.
Bless
and
her.
You know, I nearly cried because Claire and Sarah get on well, and obviously Wolfie was with her then, and I was a bit choked up, and then Lumi came on another one because then I started binge watching, and as it was going through and different people were coming on as well, I was sort of fast forwarding ahead and listening to little bits. You was great. You know, you're pretty consistent all the way through. It was good. It's just nice. It always felt like a little bit of a family, you know. And it's nice to see. Because there's been little bits of splits here and there now, and it's not, you know, it's not the same as it was. But obviously it was that COVID period, you know. It was a really nice. What do you call it? Nostalgia. Yeah, it's the nostalgia. And reminiscing and going back, and it brought back feelings of how I felt then, because it was quite a weird time for us, especially in England.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was lovely, and going through it, because what I was actually trying to find out is, why did I get this sent to me on an algorithm? And me being me, I had to know. So I thought, right, well, okay, the initial thing was to go back to the old streams and have a look at them and see if people have been commenting on them. So I tried to go in the comment sections. I thought, well, maybe that had kick-started the algorithm and sent it to me because there were more people watching them again. I don't know how these things go. But that's what I was wondering. So then I went into the comment section. So you may see some weird comments from 4 years ago, but it's me now just going, haha, because I'm still up things that people are saying in there from 4 years ago.
It was weird. It was weird because of the COVID thing. There was just an audience. I was doing sometimes 3 streams a day, you know. Yeah. And because I didn't experience it. We didn't have it here. We pretended to for the world media, but no one's life changed out here. But I knew that you lot were going through something severe. I was like, sometimes I'd do one at 10 o'clock in the morning my time, and most of you lot were just off to bed sort of thing. And it was,
yeah. Well, I mean, it's a bit like my time now. I've got too much time on my hands now, but hence I'm sort of I get up at all sorts of strange hours now. I go to bed at different times. But the other thing was that
hang on, Mousecat. Sorry, just before you move on from that, someone in the chat earlier, it might have been you, it might have been Bill, it could have been anyone actually. Someone said, as you get older, you need less sleep. Now, I've certainly experienced that. Seeing like my mother and other old people, you know, they get up at the crack of dawn, like 6 in the morning, you know, and they'll go to bed like 11, 12. Are you finding you're sleeping more or less than, say, 10 years ago?
First of all, it was lovely. I was going to bed first of all, I wasn't getting tired in the evening, so it gets to like 10, 11, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. I don't have to go to bed if I don't want to. And it's that sort of feeling like, I could start till 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning for one. But then I would sleep through till 12, and I'm like, that ain't right. So I've been trying to go to bed by 12.
Well, hang on. When you say that ain't right, what, in some kind of moral sort of? Yeah.
Because I'm brainwashed. I'm brainwashed to believe in.
Right,
okay. I've been getting up at 4 o'clock, 4:30 most of my life, and even the latest I used to get up in, and this would be at weekends as well. So I'd still get up at 5 or 6 o'clock in the weekends
for like 35, 40 years.
Yeah. So this is mucked with my whole time clock, everything, and I don't have to get up. I mean, what I tend to do is I get up in the morning. Okay, I'll go to bed at 12. I'll be up at 6, 7. And what I do now is I drink coffee so that I get that initial buzz, because I have to have that rush in the morning. That's when I'm at my most, I talk the most shit, and my brain goes absolutely mental, because I tried to not drink coffee, and I just found that it was like I was craving some challenge. You know, I have to have something to do. So I've done, you know, you can only cut the grass so much. You can only go out in the garden and cut trees down. You can only, you know, I've done everything. The car gets cleaned so much, and so I can't work at the moment. I'm not actually allowed to work at the moment unless it's a bit of that, you know. But anyway, I can't really, and this is the other weird thing. All the people that work for me all my life, I thought that when I let them go, and I've looked after them really well, they've all done really well out of it. I've sold them motors very cheap. They've had, anyway, it's all been done properly, but they've all done extremely well out of it. I carried on paying them 3 days a week for 4 months longer than what I needed to, and made sure that they all got jobs as well. So I've got in touch with people, placed them all. They're all doing really well. But they all do private work as well. None of them, not one of them, has come back and offered me a bit of work. And I said to him, like, if you get anything, want any help? Not one of them. And all these people, I'm starting to wonder, were these people that worked for me for years, were they really, I mean, I knew they weren't my friends. I knew they were associates. And I knew we got on well and we all worked well together as teams. But it's very strange. I don't know if they just feel embarrassed or they feel strange about working with me as the boss. But it has upset me a little bit. Yes, funny, weird things like that. You know, I've gone through a lot of different sort of thought processes, and as I say, I'm in a limbo, so I've got too much time. The brain's going, you know, 100 to the dozen every 5 minutes, and I'm trying to find things to do. And so AI is fantastic for me at the moment, because while the missus is sorting things out and she's dealing with the Spanish thing and this, that, the other, and the two of us can't do it. I help as much as I can. I see the post mail come in, and I deal with a lot of it. But
hang on, can I just stop you there? Yeah. Your example of doing what you can was amazing. I mean, I do what I can. I see the post come in. You literally see the letters arrive. You know,
no. I meant emails. They come in. I see, because we both got the same email.
That's not much better, but anyway.
No, it isn't. I do get the post.
Are you struggling having all this time? Is it something you're not enjoying that leisure?
I've tried meditation a lot, but as I say, I think I'm ADHD because I've got this hyper thing that that's really come out now. It's like something where I had an outlet for it. I do exercise and I go out on my bike. I do this other stuff, right? But I need to get out there and I need to start building things. That's what I do. This is part of me. I can't help it. It's just what
that's what men do. I get that. I
want to do the physical. I want to build things. I like that little chat. Even if it's just like putting shelves. Well, it won't be shelves. I'll be ripping everything out and that. But investments. I mean, I've placed most of the money. As you say, you don't want to sit there watching investments all day long, because that sends you up the wall as well. Yeah. So you know, I know they're doing okay. They're all right. They're safe. They're all good. The accountants, you can only go and see the accountant sometimes. You can't keep bringing him up because, you know, he's supposed to be working for you. You don't want to upset him. I don't know, really. It's just, I just need something to do. It's like, you know, I don't want to get a hobby that's too much, because I know that I might not be here for long. I might only be here another 2 or 3 months tops, and therefore I can't invest too much into things. I've sold so much stuff off. I'm an eBay king now. I've sold gold, silver, I've bought gold, bought silver, but done all sorts of stuff, you know, and I'm just sort of bored shitless.
I did not see that coming. It's amazing. And the thing is, it's you know, the numbers are in on this. People who retire, they don't want to. And, you know, there are companies like, here's your fucking carriage clock, well done for 50 years. And they're like, yeah, but I'm happy to do another 5. No, you go and enjoy yourself. But I'm a man. I work.
Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, Chris. If that getting up in the morning, and people saying this, I just think, fuck off. I'll tell you what, they ain't going to bother me, mate. All that stress and wanting to pull my hair out, and the horrible people I have to deal with, and the arseholes every day, day in, day out. I ain't going to miss that crap and getting phoned up at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. You've got to come back to site because it's all gone fucking tits up, and that's going to cost you $100,000, and like shit, you know, that's gonna kill me or send me under and stuff like that. I don't need all that crap, but with that, it's almost like you build a muscle to take that, and then once you take it away, it's almost like, you know, you're not going to the gym and you're not. You can feel your body with atrophy. It's like I don't want that. I don't want to have a form of mental and even physical atrophy as well. So yeah, it's just finding that, and it's finding my thing. And I talked to my dad about it, and he's found it, but then he was a lot older. He retired at 71, 72, something like that. It's a little bit different. I'm not quite there yet. I've still got I'm still pretty healthy. I've still got a lot of energy. You know, I can still outwork guys of sort of 16, 17, 25 even, you know, and I don't know what to do with it.
It's weird, isn't it? It really is. It's interesting. I mean, I'm knackered. Like, if I was to, I said at the beginning of the stream, if I shut my eyes for about a minute, I'd probably fall asleep. It's 2:15 in the morning. I'm going to wrap this up in a minute because the missus is trying to sleep just there. But I'll be up for another 5 hours writing. You know, I just have to do that. I can't. I won't be crawling into bed. I can't. You know that because all my work is self-motivated. You know, I haven't got a boss. I haven't got a timetable. So unless I do it, it just doesn't get done. So
yeah, but that's part of your future income stream. So you're looking at it as that as well.
You know what you said, Mick? You said, sorry, Mousecap. You
That's
said,
right.
You said we've both done it. We both earned money. We both spunk money. Like in my 30s, I was late 30s. I was so rich. Like business was crazy. I couldn't not make money. It was just, you know, I've told you all many times, I'd get a suit made for $5,000 just to have something to do, just to go to the tailors because the work was taking care of itself. And I got into investing, as most of you know, a few years ago. And I said to my business partner, I said, you know what, if I'd have got into this lark when I was like 37, I could have retired at 40. And he went, yeah, and you'd have been dead by about 43. And I think he's got a point. I think he's got a point there.
Yeah,
you know, and I know people who did do that. They made a load of money in their 30s. They invested wisely. And they don't work. They stop working at like 40, and it's working for them. But for me, to be financially secure at 40, and with the habits and the things I can tend to, you know, that attract me, I don't know if that would have turned out right. I think your 30s and 40s are for having a laugh, and I certainly did that. Spend the money, man. You're 38 years old, fucking sticking it into on the S&P. Jesus.
I'm saying that my old man used to have another saying. Do you know what? He used to say when the company was doing bad. Now, I'm not saying my dad's been the best businessman because some of it's crazy, but he was the same. And he used to say, right, when the company's going shit, what we do is we'll go out and buy new cars on the tap, right? We'll really put ourselves in the shit and get some nice motors. It will make us feel really, really good about ourselves, and we'll have nice things, new kitchens, do this, right? You see, well, B, we've got to work fucking double hard just to get paid for it.
We'll have to pay for it, yeah. Amazing.
It was true, you know. As long as you didn't hit the you did it on the right sort of cycle within the market, which back then was probably every 15 years. It's now closed up to every 10. I think it's probably going to close down to every 5 to 8 years now. So, you know, catching, because with housing, it's pretty much that sort of thing that goes on, property and office space and things like that. Well, that's another one that's going to die out, isn't it? Office space. I mean,
yeah, it's remote work all the way now. It's, you know, why pay for an office? Or, you know, there are companies who are saying, no, fuck that. Like Doge, like Elon Musk said it, didn't he?
Yeah.
No, if you're working for the government, you come in because there's other things that happen. But I mean, I've got all my staff are remote apart from the two that have to dispatch. So they have to be somewhere where they've got access to dispatching. But you know, we don't all go. I mean, we all live with 5 different countries. My staff, and that's the way things are going now. Why are you going to pay for an office space when someone's got their kitchen?
In a way, you're further advanced than probably a lot of your competitors who are based in one place. So you already got that remote advantage on them in a digital world. You know.
The thing is, Mick, the whole of the mega markets, you know, in the 80s, Tesco's turned up in Totnes and all the independent shops closed down. Well, now we're seeing that on a global level. You know, Amazon ain't going anywhere. Amazon's numbers are ridiculous, and it's just growing and growing, and you can't compete with it. You know, if I sell on Amazon because I have to, and I hate it. Because if an Amazon customer says to me, I bought that pick gun, it don't work. And I say, what? Is there something wrong with the motor? He says, no, it don't open locks. And I say, no, it's just a tool. You still need, you know, I could sell you an hammer and chisel. You're not going to make Rodin's thinker, are you? I don't say that. You can't say that because you'll get a bad review.
Exactly. You've got to work within their parameters.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then he's just like, I don't want it. And then I've got to pay for him to return it. He doesn't pay that. I've already paid the money to send it to him, which is about 12 quid. I've got to pay another 12 quid, come back. I've got to give Amazon their cut, right? And then when it comes back, half the tools are missing. The actual pick gun's got a fucking scratch down the side of it. That can't be resold. And that little one job has cost me 180 quid.
Yes, you're on a loss. Yeah,
and,
I can see
you know,
your issue. But
you can't
would that not be the same for every other one of your competitors that also supply via Amazon?
No, for sure. And look, when I started, there were 4 other lockpicking supply companies in the UK. I put them all out of business because they were old men. They had no sense of customer service, and that I learned that from buying from them. They were just.
You would have been at the coming then of the digital sort of age. So
Exactly.
therefore they were the old guard. I mean, this is something I've done many years. I've come up through, and now I'm, you know, towards the end of my company, I was watching other younger.
No, you
through, and I knew because I knew what I was like, even though, you know, and I'm thinking, and I can see where they're going, and that's going, and I'm thinking, my guys, I'm looking back at them, I'm thinking, really, at your age, are you going to be able to take on that stuff or do it like that?
Yeah.
Or, you know, you can't keep trying to teach. And the younger people that I wanted to bring on were, I think that was my downfall. And I think you pointed it out to me before, was being able to pass on enough of my business. What do you call it? Delegation. So I didn't delegate enough, and I'm pretty shit at employing people. I tend to have to like people, and that's always my downfall because I can be quite, you know, the ones I got were good, but it took me too many to go through to find the right ones, and I used to get very frustrated with people and upset that they had no real ethic or something, or they lied.
Yeah, I mean, basically, they weren't you. You're the boss. They're staff.
I don't like people bullshitting like to me, and I found there was a lot of people with really harsh drug issues, and especially younger men, and they I tried to just employ white English guys, and no matter how much I love them to death, you know, too many issues. Again, too much to unravel. You want someone to go to work. That's all.
You hit the nail on the head because it got to the point where. So I put them all out of business. It wasn't difficult. I just done the job better than them. But then it got to the point where I realised that, like you say, I was the old guard, and all these youngsters, they're doing all the social media, the TikTok, and all this other stuff. I mean, we do social media, but nothing like this lot are doing it. Nothing. Yeah. And then I see their shops closed down. I think, hang on, they were doing really well because I've got access to how much traffic they get and all that. I've got software that shows me that. And of course, they're just on Amazon now. It's a fully they've given up the native shop. because it's just not worth it, and it's all on Amazon. They might only make £1 per product, but they're selling 400 of those a day rather than 5. Do you know what I mean?
But you see, with this V3 AI Google whatever it is system, would you not be able to do so much of your marketing? I mean, you could even be a younger version of yourself on there. You could take a picture, a photograph of, let's say, when you was, you feel you was at your best, probably around about 35 or 30-ish sort of time, yeah. And
53.
Well, whenever, you do whatever you want, but you can use that, and that could be you on all of those platforms selling and taking over that side of it. You just have to be able to implement.
The truth is, my dream is to write professionally. I want to wake up. I want to write for 4 or 5 hours, and then spend time with my missus, hopefully some kids, and then do a stream, make a video, and then rinse and repeat. I've been doing this lark for 20 years, and I still love lockpicking. We're putting together some new sets for Black Friday and Christmas, and I'm really impressed with what I've put together. Check this out. This is how excited I am. I'm going to bore you with it now. There's a technique called impressioning, right? You get the lock, any lock, normal door lock, and you get a blank key that fits that lock, yeah? You put it in the lock. You need it's like a mole grip, but it's a bit stronger. And you give it a little wiggle, and on that key there'll be these tiny little marks. You file them down with a Swiss number 4 Velour file. Put it back in the lock. Give it a wiggle. See if you can see the marks. If there are any more, give them a little file. Do that, and then eventually that lock opens. Not only have you opened the lock, but you've got a working key. Now, I can do it. I can already impression locks. It'll take me about an hour and a half on a good day. But I've got a couple of mates, Joss and Ollie. They can do it in under a minute. They can start with a blank key. You can give them a lock out of a box they've never seen before, and they just go, lock opens, there's your working key. And I'm like, fucking hell. And I love it. But what I don't love so much is customer service. I don't love so much is 2-hour meeting with the SEO people. Come on.
Yeah,
I'm a writer. Right. Now, my business was a complete accident. I was a petty drug dealer, and I fell into it by accident, and it gave me a quality of life. I used to say that I didn't deserve. I've grown out of that though, but it's given me a quality of life. I used to be able to go on holiday 6-7 times a year. I had lovely clothes, and I could buy some very fine ladies when I needed to. And I got to live in a lovely couple of flats in Soho, which was always my dream. So all lovely, but inspiring me to sort of, get the energy back into it. Because I know you're right. I know that I could do that, but
I know what you mean. I was the same. Before I closed my business down, it was going very badly. I think I probably told you. Just after COVID, I lost hundreds of thousands of pounds come out of my bank, hundreds of thousands, trying to get, and then things didn't pick up. Anyway, I got a bit lucky, and it was a very old friend of mine who worked with my father. Anyway, his father and then his son have got a company, and they got in touch with me, and they had a load of factories to do. Guess what? Guess what these factories are going to be building? Drones.
The irony.
Oh, huge fucking places. These great big bloody warehouse things. They take your fucking half out from one side to the other. They got all these, and they wanted all the concrete sorted out in these units. So I thought, right, hold on. I think I had about 15 grand left in the bank.
And you
I blagged it. I blagged it. I thought, fuck it. What have I got to lose? Fuck it. Let's go for it. I said, I can do that. I can take that. Took it all on. Told them they're going to have to pay me. Well, I said to them, you've got to pay me fortnightly. And they're like, what? No. It's every month at best. No. I said, you've got to pay me monthly. It's too much outlay. Blah blah blah. They did that. And they did that. And once I started getting ahead, it was good. Then we did the next one. So I got out on the top, and there was enough there that looked okay. And then I thought, fuck it. Do you know what? What do I want to do? If there's any problems with the jobs? So I just literally said to everyone, look, I'm going to be closed down by March. It's going to be closed. I literally haven't worked since December. No, January. January was I did a couple of days in January. And I've just been sitting around. Not sitting around, obviously closing companies out, selling vehicles, or selling plant, or going this place, going that place, getting up and down the country, dragging stuff around and selling it for the best prices online and stuff like that, which I really enjoyed. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely, it's hard to watch it go. Like, there's a lot of my life, even if it's equipment, just equipment.
But it's still that earning money, isn't it? It's still.
Well, I looked at one pump. One of the pumps I had, I worked out I'd probably made in somewhere in the region of about £6.5–7 million with that in about, well, I'm not going to say how long. It was reasonably short. And I sort of looked at that pump, and I remember, and I'm like, God, I bought that like 8–9 years ago. I really like that pump. It's a fucking pump. I've got it now. I don't dream about it anymore. But it's sort of equipment and vehicle. I mean, vehicles I don't give a shit about. They're just a tool.
Right, listen, Nick, I've got to wrap this up. But I have
got
no. But there is an important question, because what I'm getting from you, you said you're going out of your mind. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do to fill this time? I know you're moving, but what?
Once I get there, I'm fine, because I can lay down track. Then I can go forward. I know what I'm going to do. I've got
working, doing floors. Oh, okay.
I'm going to be something within doing something.
That's all right.
AI.
There's a plan there. You've got something.
There's more than one. There's more than one. I mean, look, I've probably got about 5 or 6 things. Even one of them is growing micro salads and very expensive shiitake mushrooms to sell to some of the very high-end restaurants in this particular valley where we are. I know they haven't really got a business around like that. I've looked around and I've spoken to people there, and it's not a big thing there. And they have to go a long way to get them, and they have to freeze them. But if you've got a fresh source every day, it's that much more. So I've also got a business plan for growing that. I know how to grow them things. I can see you, Mick, as one of those truffle hunters. Getting one of those little dogs or pigs or whatever it is, they find those white truffles. That's a side business. That's just something I'll have a little pop at. But there's so many different things I want to try, and all the things I've always wanted to just have a little pop at. Why not? I've got 5 years where I probably wouldn't have to work, and in that time I've got to try and find a new income stream. So that's what I'm going to do.
When you first told me, you and your missus, it was an off-stream chat. I was so proud and impressed. I think fair play to you, man. You'll make it work because your life has proved that that's what you do. And the organism does what has caused the organism to survive. And
don't get me wrong. I have fear. I had my moments where I wake up at sort of like 2 o'clock in the morning going, what the fuck am I doing? What have you done? What? And then I think, fuck it. I've probably got 10, 15, 20 years tops left. What? What? So what? So what's the worst that could happen? Worst that could happen, I'll end up back in the UK on the dole and sponging off the state. And, like a lot of other people, and just like, fuck it. It's not the end of the world.
Nah, you'll be all right. Don't worry about that.
I wouldn't.
That ain't going to happen. All right, mate, listen, I'm going to let you go. Nice one, Mick. It's been brilliant. I usually let people have about 10 minutes. I think you've had about an hour, and it's been a real pleasure. It's been too long since we talked to you.
Yeah, it's been good, man. It's been excellent to see you as well, Packer. But I do see Packer a lot, so yeah. And,
can't get rid of him. I know the feeling. Look after yourself, Mick. Ta-da.
Cheers, bud. Nice one.
Ta-da. Show Mousecat some love in the chat, people. What an interesting conversation. A bloke who's worked since he was a teenager, got married to his childhood sweetheart, who he's still with. We both see what they're like together. And he jacked in his business, and he's going to give something else a go. And It's weird, isn't it? Life, you know. I never studied business. I sold drugs. That's not studying business. I mean, the supply and demand situation there is, as long as you've got it, it sells. You know, it's the heroin's the only product that if you make it worse quality, people will pay more and buy more. It's like, okay.
You used to super chat, by the way, ages ago, Brad
No,
James.
I'm here. I've got it right here. But, you know, I was very lucky, but I did work my fucking ass off. When I realised I was onto something, like my mate come around and said, you need to set up. Before, I didn't even have PayPal. He set me up this forum, and I was getting letters, you know, on my mum's mat in the morning with like tenors in them, because I was selling these bump keys for a tenner. And there was like 30 letters on the welcome, on, like, you know, the doormat in the morning. And my mate said, you've got to get a PayPal account. And I was like, what the fuck's that? And we'd sit there, me and him, smoking weed, and it would be going tenner, 30, 20, literally like that. And he'd be going, what the fuck? And I was so naive. I said, this has got about a year left in it, isn't it? I said, you know, there's only so many people who are going to want to buy lockpicks. You know, I honestly thought that it would run out in a year, and 20 years later. So I've been, you know, I had my midlife, so to speak. I haven't had to worry about money, and I still don't worry about it, simply because, as Mick just said, when I get that fear, I'll do something about it. I will do something about it. Especially now I've got a missus to look after. I'm not going to let her suffer. She suffered enough in her life, and she's relying on me. But give Mousecat some love in the chat, people. Brad James dropped a 10-bit. Nice one, Brad. You've been very generous this stream. He said, don't leave England to the wolves. Spain was much worse in the Middle Ages. As for AI, we will see human streams of commerce and computer commerce in the future. Then there's AI forays into medicine. I'm a bit lost with your middle section there, Brad, but I think AI is going to do medicine the world of good. I really do. I think you get a company like Palantir involved in the NHS, which they already are. They'll expose that for the absolute mess it is, and it will become so hyper efficient that there might be some money left over to put some of those veterans who live on the street into some fucking houses. Nice one, Brad. You'll have to, well, you don't have to, but human streams of commerce and computer commerce, I'm not sure what that means. So if you want to elaborate, feel free. Thank you, though. Very generous. I think there's another one came in. I'll refresh over there as well. Hello, Mr. Bontoft. Nice to see you. Danger groomed mouse cat. Good Lord. I've been accused of some things in my time, JP, but
groomed us all.
Hello, Anglo. How are you, mate? I didn't know you were here. It's because I've been chatting to Mousecat. Groomed us all. John, hello, John. John called Mousecat a clean car nationalist. I've been cleaning the car. Brad says, I don't know if my nan ever sleeps. That's Alzheimer's for you. What, hers or yours?
I do about 5 hours, 4 or 5 hours, and that's it.
You sleep for 5 hours a night? I mean, yeah. I'll do 4 or 5, but just recently, my missus is trying to strip back years of comprehensive school education and my mother's sort of shaming. And mothers do shame their boys. That's part of the system. But like, I'll be up right until 7 o'clock in the morning. I'll go to bed. She'll wake up at like 9 o'clock. I've been asleep for 2-3 hours. And I'll sort of get up and she's going, why are you getting up? I go, well, because otherwise I'll go back to sleep and I'll wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning. And she'll just go, so? And I'm like, you know, all the years I was like a hard-hitting drug addict, as if I give a shit about when I was sleeping. But as I've got older, it started to become a bit of a ethical kind of quandary for me. But no, she just says, no, go to sleep. Like late this afternoon, I said, I'm going to sleep. And she was like, good, go to sleep. Maybe she just wants me to shut up. Who knows? I'm sure there was another. Linda Hunter, 10 months. Hello, darling. You've been a member for longer than that. Most delightful. Thank you, Linda. Much appreciated. I don't think I've missed any. If anyone thinks I've missed any, I don't think Glass is here anymore, but Glass, let me know what you want on the wall and I will definitely do it for you. We're all clear over on the buy me a coffee. I'll just give Entropy a check. I think people are going for buy me a coffee over Entropy, which I'm happy with that. Anyway, well, there you go, Packer. What did you make of that? I wasn't going to stream tonight because I was too tired. We got done nearly 3 hours, and it was one of the best streams I think we've had in a long time.
Brilliant. Mouse Cat had plenty of so it was good, wasn't it?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. I'd like to talk to you about some of those things at some point because at some point we talked about it the other day, though, didn't you? You said you ain't going to retire, are you? You're going to work until you drop.
Yeah, no, I'm more than happy to sit around doing absolutely nothing all the time I'm not at work. But I don't want to stop going to work.
I would be happy if I've got a roof over my head, enough money to eat or my girlfriend's gardening, and just being able to write. I don't even care if I don't sell a lot. Just you know what's beautiful about Substack? For someone who's been writing for 30 odd years, just knowing people are reading what I'm writing, it's fucking beautiful, man. And some of the things people say are glorious. And thank you to everyone who put comments on that latest story. It's a boring story for me to tell you why I needed it, but thank you very much. It's really appreciated.
When I first got a job in a nursing home, it was part-time, it was a few hours a week. A girl I knew, absolute diamond woman, who was very lucky and married a vicar. But she said, because she knew me, she said, you'll get hooked and that's it. And I had no idea what she meant because I'd never worked in a nursing home or in that kind of an environment. I worked on building sites and factories and places like that. But she was right.
Yeah.
You know, I am 15 more years later.
And you're known there by the clients as well as the staff.
Oh yeah, because all the clients know me. I don't know them particularly. Some of them I get to know, but generally I try not to, because I'm not particularly well built for that.
They drop like flies. That's what they're there for, isn't it? It's like the clock's ticking. Rough. I mean, it sounds rough, but I was very lucky with both my parents. My dad got sick. 3 weeks later, he was dead. My mum got sick. A week later, she was dead. And I'm happy about that. I'm not happy about them dying, but it's inevitable. That's going to happen. But I've seen people nursing their parents for like 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And that's difficult. That's hard. Like Marzipan, you know, he talks about it, doesn't he? And you know, if my mum had got properly sick but not died, my brother lives in Japan, I live here, he wouldn't have gone back. Not a chance. I'd have had to have gone back. And I would have done, of course I would have done. And then she'd have said, I want to go to an home. And then I said, we ain't got money for a fucking care home, Mum. This place ain't worth a care home. You'll get about 3 months there.
Yeah.
Imagine wiping your own mum's bum. Fucking hell. You don't imagine that, actually. And I apologise to everyone for saying that. Listen, I've got to go. My missus wants to go to sleep. Look after yourself, Packer. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Cheers,
Ta-da.
Chris. Cheers, Scrubs.
Send Packer some love, people. He's great stuff. Look at that. 3 hours he sat there, said about 5 words. And it's an absolute pleasure to have him there. All right, people. I want to thank everyone who donated. We were talking about money and all that tonight. Well, obviously, donations help when, you know, obviously. I'm never going to pretend otherwise. It's ridiculous. Thanks to everyone who come on and talked. Who was it? Mousecat? Who else come on, Packer?
Hey?
Who else came on for a chat?
No one else came up.
That's all right. Ta-da. As long as I'm not the only person who forgot. I hope someone in the chat doesn't say me, and I'll be like, "Oh, sorry." People, come on! I saw your comment. I mean, congratulations! You beat 17th place Man United in a tournament that Arsenal were too good to be in. No, I'm happy for you, man. I mean, that empty. I'm really trying to congratulate you, but that empty trophy cabinet, at least you've got something to do with it now. and in fairness, as much as I'm a gooner, it was lovely to see Man United lose. It was absolutely, what a state that club is in. It's beautiful. Weird though, weird as hell, man. You know what, Manchester United, like the pride of English football for like decades. And they're just a nothing now. But apparently, Old Trafford just leaks. It's just like an old fucking cow. What do they call it? Auction. I don't know what a cow auction is, but no, man, fair play. You must be made up for that. You must be. It's got you a Champions League place, hasn't it? I think that's probably the best bit about it. No, fair play to you. 3 European Cups. Go on, son. Yeah, I know, it's hilarious, isn't it, Arklow? Nah, man, I've got writing to do. I've got, even if it's just your left one. I thought you were looking out for me then. Well, you might have been just with one eye. Now I've got to write. If I don't write, it ain't getting done. And this book if I can sell this book to a big publisher, which I think I might, and I've never thought that because I don't write that sort of stuff. That could be my future sorted. That's then I can sell my 700-page novel. On the back of that, I've probably got 2 anthologies of my Substacks, you know, sell 2 books of shorts. And when you go with a publisher, they want all this. They don't want one book. They want to know that you've already got a few in the wood, and they want to know the book I've written. I don't want to give too much away about it, but I can easily write the number 2, number 3, and number 4. You'll see when it comes out, and it will come out because it's a commercial project, and I'm pretty good at those things. Yeah, so I've got to do some writing. I have to. It's 3 o'clock. I'll write until about 5, I guess, today. We do a bit of that. We do a bit of this. We do a bit of that. I'll tell you what, Nate, though. 1, 2, 3, 7. I'll tell you what, though, Nate, that getting that Champions League spot is certainly going to help you get some decent players in. I mean, what are Man U going to do? Who's going to go to Man U? Like, have you got Champions League football? No. No. Where are you where are they? Like 15th or something? It's ridiculous. Arsenal are 2nd, 3rd year running. Can't win them all. Listen, people, I've really enjoyed tonight. I also need these streams. It's a weird thing to remember. Brad says, remember, Carrie was rejected 30 times. Great movie. I'm not a fan of Stephen King. I'll tell you what, On Writing is brilliant, though. If you're a writer, read Stephen King's On Writing. One publisher wrote off Gone with the Wind completely. Imagine being off the highest grossing film of all time. I mean, you know, all agents say this. If you get turned down, we're not saying you're not a great writer or a good writer. We're just saying you're not right for our publishing house. That's a lie. Because if they thought it was any good, they'd have it off you within the hour. If they thought they could make money out of it, they'd take it off you. All right, people, bless you all. Thanks to everyone who donated. Thanks to the chat, on fire as ever. Thanks to Packer, and special thanks to Mousecat. Here's a little bit of music for you. It's a friend of yours and mine. We call him the Matoid, and it's Funeral Party. Ta-ta.
3, 7, yeah. Right on, baby. The priest is here, and the casket is ready. Body inside looks nice and steady. Let's play it for the man, for the last time. Play it for the man. Farewell. Play it for the man, for the last time. Play it for the man. Praise the Lord, and we got to go on with the funeral party. 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 Yeah! All right. Now the priest is talking, and the casket starts to move. Everybody's crying. We all got the groove. Let's play
42 streaming later, apparently, people.
last time, play it for the man. Farewell. Play it for the man. For the last time, play it for the man. Praise the Lord, and we got to go on with the funeral party. 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 Yeah! All right. Everybody cry. Hey. Praise the Lord. Yeah. Yeah. Praise the Lord, and we got to go on with the funeral party. Got to go on with the funeral party. Got to go on with the funeral party. Got to go on with the funeral party.
I'll do anything you want, Emma. Absolutely anything.
There you go, people. That was the Matoid with Funeral Party. Thank you, Emma. It's a lot of letters, that. Emma Glass, You might just get Emma, I'll talk to you about it in private. Know what I mean? Thank you, Emma. Very kind. Very, very kind. Look after yourselves, people, and I will see you again. I might, depending on how I feel tomorrow, I might sneak one in before Rags and Jacks, but don't forget they're streaming tomorrow night. I think 7:30 UK time, and 42 streaming later. I don't know where or well on his channel, but I haven't got a link or anything, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Someone will put it up in the Scrubs lifeboat. I'm sure that's what will happen. There you go, as 42 himself has just said. I'm with you, actually, Plastic African. I think it's a great time. These are great days to be alive. Packer drop to Lady Godiva. Cheers, Chris. Thanks for having me. See you all later at 42's. 10:30 UK time, I think. Scrubs Hoyt. Nice one, Packer. Prasha Kanatu. And I think that is us done. James doesn't want me to go. I think it still runs, James. It doesn't stop when I end it. I don't think so anyway. I'm not sure. Oh, 7 o'clock for Rags tomorrow. And 10:30, I don't know what that is about. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Look after yourselves, people. Hoita.